Melissa Duran is suing her former property manager, Tracy Shaw, for wrongful eviction and an assault.
Court come to order. All rise.
Be seated, please.
Kevin.
Case 2097, Duran versus Shaw.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Duran, the defendant is the property manager at a place where you used to live.
Yes.
And you are suing her for evicting you from that place. You want a whole bunch of money. You're suing her for $10,000 for your moving expenses, for assault, for emotional distress because you had to move. Ms. Shaw says that your behavior caused you to be evicted. You violated the rules, and that's why you were served notice of eviction. So first, let me know when you started living at the property that is managed by the defendant.
In 2018.
Did you have a lease?
Yes, I did.
Do you have a copy of that lease with you?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Melissa produces a document, then hands it to Kevin. He brings it to Judy, who reviews it.
Okay, so this initial lease was August of 2019, and it terminated on July 31st, 2020. It provided for 3 people to live in the apartment. Okay, and was the lease renewed?
Nope.
Okay, and so then you became a month-to-month tenant?
Yes.
And that was in February of 2020?
They also increased the rent.
That's okay, they're allowed to do that. That's a business.
No, I know.
They're allowed to do that. When your lease was extended on a month-to-month basis after February of 2020, would you tell me if the same people lived in the apartment as were on the original lease?
No.
So more people moved in?
Yes.
Who?
That would be my sisters and my mother.
Sisters?
Yes.
2 sisters?
Yes.
And when did they move in?
Maybe about, maybe 2020, maybe? Couldn't really be positive.
So that would have been in violation of your original lease?
Yes.
And it was an apartment that you were
Yes.
renting? And the apartment complex has a pool?
Yes, it does.
And the incident around, circumstances surrounding this eviction that was served on you, that happened in what month and year?
It was in June of this year.
How long, Ms. Shaw, have you been the property manager?
Since the end of November of last year.
November of 2021?
Yes.
And in November of 2021, did you know that there were additional people living in the house?
Yes.
And didn't tell her that they had to vacate, that it was in violation of the terms of her underlying lease?
I had that morning, actually, when the confrontation happened.
No, I'm talking about, pay attention. My question was, did you register any complaint with the plaintiff about the additional people living? And be very careful that you tell me the truth, because I know that you think you may know where I'm going, but you don't. Did you make any complaint to her November, December, January, February, March, April, or May? The answer is either yes or no about the other people living in the house.
No.
So I guess I'm going to start with you, because an incident occurred that resulted in her being evicted, that you're serving her with a notice of eviction.
Right.
Tell me when that took place, because I have to know what your reason was. That's a fair statement.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
So in June 22, like I said, that morning I had served.
What morning?
June 21st or something, I believe.
What kind of letter were you serving on her?
I just gave them, mine is, it's just a complaint notice, you know, saying that.
Do you have a copy of that?
Do
you know what she's talking about?
Yes, I have a copy.
I'd like to see it.
There you go.
Melissa produces a document. Kevin collects it, then brings it to Judy, who reviews it.
Okay. Well, this is a letter that says you and your company were eating and drinking in the pool area even after I told them to stop, that it wasn't allowed. They did not stop, and there is absolutely no eating or drinking in the pool area. Okay, so that's the letter she served to you, and that was on June 21st.
That's the letter she
Now,
threw
who was eating and drinking in the pool?
That would be my sister.
That wasn't just your sister.
No, it was her and her friend.
No, just a second. Let's get it together. So your sister, who wasn't supposed to be there, but they sort of let that skate,
who
wasn't supposed to be there,
Okay.
Okay, so your sister and who else?
That would be my sister, her boyfriend, and 2 of her friends, or 3 of her friends, I think.
Had they ever been to the pool before?
My sister has, but not her friends.
So the person who wasn't supposed to be living with you, that's your sister,
Yes.
invited her boyfriend and 3 other friends to the pool.
She called and asked if it was okay first.
She asked you.
Yes.
And you said fine.
Yes.
You didn't call the manager.
No.
Okay. And you are aware that there's no eating and drinking in the pool.
That's not what it says on my lease.
Is that what it says at the pool?
Nope.
Does it say anywhere in the house rules?
Nope.
Nope, it's not an answer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The answer is no.
No, ma'am, it is not.
No. Now, when you've been living there for a long time, do you use the pool?
Yes, I do.
Ever had any trouble in the time from November of last year? Ever had any complaint?
Nope.
Nope is
No,
not an
sorry,
answer.
sorry,
No
I'm
is
sorry.
the answer. No,
Yeah,
no
okay,
complaint.
no, sorry.
Okay. And did you discuss with your sister and her friends that there were any rules that she had to abide by?
No, I did not, because I was not home yet.
Stand up.
Melissa's sister rises.
First name is?
Aaliyah.
You were their boyfriend and 3 girlfriends. Any children?
No.
You know this lady?
Yes.
What happened when she came to tell you that there was no eating or drinking at the pool?
So we were standing.
Just what happened when she told
She
you?
came screaming at us, telling us that we needed to get the food out and that we needed to go.
Get the food out. What kind of food had you
It was
brought
just
in?
pizza and like a soda and water.
So it wasn't a piece of fruit. You were having a meal there, pizza
Yes.
and food. Had you ever seen your sister bring food into the pool area?
Snacks, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not talking about snacks. Did she ever bring food into the pool area?
No.
What prompted you to order food into the pool area?
It was a hot day and we were hungry and I'm not sure.
You asked your sister if it was okay if you and your friends came.
Yes.
Since you never saw anybody, because usually there are signs posted
Yes.
around a pool. I've lived in enough places to know, and the pool signs usually say no jumping
Yes.
in the pool, no food or drink around the pool, right?
Yes.
Most pools say that.
Yes.
Did this pool say that?
It just said, like you said, no jumping in the pool, no diving, to come into the pool, but it never said nothing about food, drinks, nothing like that.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, so now you please establish to me, Miss Shaw, that there was notice that there was no food and drink at the pool.
Their pool addendum,
May I see?
Tracy hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
and then also no guest addendum.
Just a second.
It's all part of their.
Hold on. You're Melissa Duran,
Yes, I am.
and that's your signature?
Yes.
Yes. The pool is reserved exclusively for the use of residents of the building. That's what it says.
Okay.
That's what you signed. No diving in the pool area, no intoxicated persons. Okay, I just want you to show me here, first of all, the only thing that they are violating is that pool is reserved exclusively for the residents of the building. That's in here, but I don't see anything about food.
The new pool addendum wasn't part of their contract. So when we put out the new one, it was for more updated tenants, but we didn't
Just a
serve
second.
them on the
Hers-
food. We served them on the guests.
Is what you're saying to me. The only thing that she signed is this, and there is no sign around the pool that says no eating or drinking.
There is a sign by the pool.
Do you have a copy
I
of it?
don't have a copy of that.
Why not?
Caption, coming up.
I texted her that I was sorry that they had food in the pool, and I did not know that.
So that you knew they weren't supposed to have food in the pool.
Yeah, but I didn't know they bring it. The thing.
Just a second. That's not what I asked you.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Melissa and Tracy.
Melissa Duran claims her former property manager, Tracy Shaw, owes for a wrongful eviction and an assault.
Okay, go ahead.
Because she had moved in prior to them changing the pool addendum, I posted the new pool addendum on all of the doors. And I have actually text messages of Melissa asking me, can we, the no floaties? And I said, well, of course,
May I?
For
Oh.
children and whatnot, but not big floaties.
Okay.
So she was acknowledging the pool addendum that I had.
That I'll see. Now, she's going to show me your text messages to her.
Yes.
So you received the revised pool rules.
Yes.
And did the new pool rules say anything about guests?
No, it did not.
So if it said nothing about guests, you originally said that the pool is specifically reserved for residents of the complex.
Yes.
And according to you, the new pool rules, do they talk about having floaties in the pool?
Yes, it did.
Did it talk about having guests at the pool?
Yeah, actually it did.
And what did it say?
There was no problem, just like on the original lease. It was
No.
fine to have guests in the pool.
No, that's not what this says. This says that the pool is reserved for residents of the building only.
Well, we were already told before that it was fine to have guests.
This is the contract that you signed.
Yes, I
Okay?
understand.
So this is the first one that you signed, this one. And absent anything else, this says no guests at the pool. This says residents only.
Okay.
You say that it was the new rules allow you to have guests, or were they silent?
There was nothing on there saying that you cannot have guests. It was mainly just saying that you cannot have floaties, you cannot jump or run into the pool.
Just a second. Did it say anything about food?
No.
Is there a new sign posted around the pool that talks about food?
No, it does
All I
not.
want to see is, Miss Shaw,
Right.
something in the new rules that talks about food. And I'm getting very bored with this. Now, when Miss Shaw came over and told you you couldn't have food, you had to get rid of the food, about what time was that?
Probably like 5, 6. I'm not exactly too sure.
And when had this food and stuff arrived? Was it?
We brought it. We were coming in with the food. We walked in with the food. I'm pretty sure
Just
she's
a
seen
second.
us.
So you and your group, 5 people, walked in with dinner to the pool area. And did the dinner include any alcoholic beverages
No.
like beer?
Nope.
What kind of drinks were there?
It was Pepsi. It was soda.
And what happened when Miss Shaw came over and told you you weren't allowed to have the food at the pool?
She came very aggressively.
Okay, she came aggressively and she said you're not allowed.
She stormed out and screamed, get the food out and you guys need to leave.
And so what did you do?
I told her, okay, I'd get the food out, and I made a call to my sister to come help me with the food. And as we were packaging
Where was your
it-
sister?
She was upstairs.
So when you came out with the food, you came out of the apartment.
No, we had just gotten there. We were coming from another pool area that wasn't
What other
open.
pool area?
My boyfriend's friend. We were going to swim at his pool, but it wasn't available because there was too many people there.
Were you at your boyfriend's house during the day?
No, I was at school, and they were all at work, so we all just met up after everything.
Okay, so you were asked by Miss Shaw to get the food out, and then you called your sister.
Yes, and I told her.
And then what happened?
And I told her if she could come get the food while we swam, or if not, that we
Why
were going to
didn't
leave.
you just get out?
Well, because I was trying to help, because we were splitting the check through it, the money, so we're splitting the pizza, who's getting what, and all of that. And before we even could leave, she stormed out again, screaming, saying, you guys are getting a notice, you guys are getting a notice, and running up the stairs to her, because she was coming out, and she was hey, what's going on? And then she was like, you guys are getting a notice. I'm tired of everybody not listening and coming to me with your problems. And then my sister was like, whoa, hey, relax. I'm coming to get the food. And then she threw the paper and my sister backed up
Okay,
she,
so what,
went
so the
aggressive.
letter, she gave your sister the letter.
It was a notice.
She gave you the paper that said, this is a complaint. There are people in the pool who are eating, drinking. They don't belong here. They're not, whatever. She said, here's your notice.
Yes.
Okay, and that was on the 21st of June. Then what happened?
Well, after she threw the paper at me, she turned back around, still yelling, and she stomped down the stairs, and I'm trying to tell her, you didn't give me time to come and get the food. And she ran back in her apartment and slammed her door.
And she went back to her apartment, and you went where?
Back into my house.
Okay, you went back into your house, and what
Yes.
did you do when you went
When
back
I
into
got
your
back there, I texted her, telling her that I was sorry that they had food in the pool, and I did not know that because I did not know at the time.
Just a second. So, Ms. Duran, let's cut to the chase, so that you knew they weren't supposed to have food in the pool, only snacks.
Yeah, but I didn't know they bring it. The thing.
Just a second. That's not what I asked you.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You knew that there was no food in the pool, only water and snacks.
Okay, yes.
So you knew that.
Okay, yes.
Okay. Now, if you know that, and you have given, I'm just telling you what the law is. If you know that there is a rule, and you don't convey that, that's your problem, okay?
Okay.
All right, so that's June 21st, when guests that you agreed to have in the pool, you didn't know that there was food there. You knew that there wasn't supposed to be food there. That knowledge is imparted to your guests. That's a legal assumption. I want to know what happened after June 21st. When were you served with a 3-day notice to quit?
I believe it was on the 24th.
I'd like to see it.
Okay. I have 3 of the same. They sent me 3 of them.
I just have to see one. Did the attorney, who you say you gave by a cash app, return any of the money? Okay, well, you served this 3-day notice to quit, Ms. Shaw, and in it, you're alleging threatens to commit a crime. So I assume that the person, it talks about a statement, threatens to commit a crime. I assume that the threat was directed to you. Yes. In any event, you were given a 3-day notice to quit, but actually you managed to get that extended to 30 days.
Yes.
And one of the things that you had to do was to hire an attorney.
Yes.
And when you hired an attorney, did you hire an attorney and pay a retainer?
Oh, yes, I did.
Okay. I'd like to see proof of what you paid the attorney.
I don't think I bring the one that pertained to the lawyer. What I do have is him finding out what the criminal act was.
No. You're a month-to-month tenant.
Yes.
Landlord has a right to give you a 30-day notice and say you have to quit the premises. You have no legal right to be there. My only question is you were not given 30 days notice. You were given a 3-day notice, and I'm not actually convinced that there was a basis to give you a 3-day notice.
Caption coming up.
If I called him, would he tell me that you paid him
Yes.
$1,200?
Yes, he would. Though I still owe him $250.
So you paid him $950.
Okay, okay.
What do you mean, okay?
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Melissa and Tracy.
Melissa Duran has accused her former property manager, Tracy Shaw, of wrongfully evicting her. Tracy claims Melissa was violating apartment rules.
Now, if you got 30 days, and the reason you got 30 days is because you retained an attorney, I'm prepared to look to see how much you paid the attorney, because that's an expense that you have that you wouldn't have had but for the 3-day notice to quit. They're entitled to tell you to leave. I mean,
Yeah.
You're there with too many people living in the apartment. They've already had a kerfuffle because you allowed your sister and her boyfriend and friends to come to the pool. They were told no food. They ignored them. But I don't think any of that rises to the level of grounds to give you a 3-day notice to quit. I think that if they want to tell you that you have to be out in 30 days, that's reasonable, but they didn't. They gave you a 3-day notice forcing you to hire an attorney. I'm prepared to give you the attorney's fees if you prove to me that you paid an attorney.
I do have proof of that, but I do not have it with me.
Okay. And how much did you pay him? That's an easy thing for me to verify.
I believe it was $1,200.
I want you to think about it carefully.
No, it was $1,200 because he had lowered it. He lowered it from $1,400 to $1,200.
And you paid him by check or cash?
I paid him in Cash App is the only way I could.
Did he go to court with you?
We haven't, this is the first court we have been to.
So how did he get you 30 days?
Because I got the 3-day notice and it kept saying I committed a criminal act.
Okay,
So that was the reason why I obtained the lawyer, so he can find out what the criminal act was.
And just by phone calls, he got them to extend it to 30 days. So
Yes.
you were never in, and you left after the 30 days.
I left before the 30. I left on August 1st.
Okay, and where did you go?
I had to move all the way to Atwater, California.
Is that where you live now?
Yes, it is.
And who lives with you?
My husband and my young son. That's it, just the 3 of us. We moved into a smaller, more expensive place.
Okay, and you left your sisters?
And my mother.
And your mother?
They are somewhere completely different.
Okay, what do you...
This is in their lease about disturbances and threats.
Listen, I've already made a determination that the 3-day notice should have been a 30-day notice to leave. I don't think that anything that I've heard today rises to the level of giving people who've been in the apartment as long as they had, especially over pizza, requires a 3-day notice. So the only question that I'm entertaining on behalf of the plaintiff and the only monetary award that I'm going to contemplate are attorney's fees. Did the attorney, who you say you gave by a cash app, return any of the money since he never had to go to court for you?
No, he did not.
Just a second. If I called him right now, would he tell me that you paid him $1,200?
Yes, he would. Yes, he would. Though what I was going to tell you is that I did not have enough to pay him completely. I still owe him $250.
So you didn't pay him. So you paid him $950.
Okay, okay. I'm sorry.
What do you mean,
I
okay?
didn't. No, I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't.
So you paid him $950.
Yes.
I'm awarding you $950, which are your attorney's fees, for the reason that, I'm speaking, for the reasons that I've stated, because they have an absolute right to give you a 30-day notice, tell you to leave, and there was a basis for it, actually. And you know, there was a basis for saying your guests, which is you, are not abiding by the rules. You're a month-to-month tenant. Right now, we do not intend to keep you as a tenant. We're giving you 30 days notice to find another place. I think that would have been absolutely a problem. Speaking would have been absolutely appropriate. I think a 3-day notice to quit was inappropriate given the level of infraction. So I'm awarding you the counsel fees because that's what it took to get you your 30 days. This case is over. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
Tracy.
I'm disappointed in the decision.
Her actions of her aggression, throwing something in my face, that was a little bit excessive.
I don't feel that I got to say more of the story that continued to happen.
Her actions caused me to get evicted in 3 days.
They have bad character, and so I don't think that I owe them anything.
I mean, I didn't think anything like would come to this, you know.
I'm just glad they're gone.
I'm happy to be out because I just really wanted her to be held responsible for what she did.
Sarah and Judy.
So a trend I've seen a lot here is plaintiffs suing for wrongful eviction when they're a month-to-month tenant. And from what I've learned in landlord-tenant law in New York, I know it varies a lot from state to state, is the landlord only has to give you as much notice as your term, which if you're a month-to-month tenant would be 30 days. So people have to really understand the legalese of their contract and of their lease, because if you feel like you're being wrongfully evicted as a month-to-month tenant, that's a different standard than if you have a standard year-long written lease.
Well, that's sort of the reason. I didn't think that the one instance that was raised was sufficient to give them a 3-day emergency notice to quit. Might have been enough, that coupled by the fact that there were too many people living in the apartment, to give them a 30-day notice. That is, you're right, it's your property. But I didn't think it rose to the level of a 3-day notice to quit for threats.
I didn't either, so I agreed with your $950 judgment for the attorney's fees.
Would have been happier if she had some sort of a receipt or something from her Cash App, because she very quickly changed the $1,200 to $950.
She was honest.
I think the right thing happened.
Yeah, me too.
Title: Judy Justice.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv. For personal items and money from a GoFundMe fundraiser.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches Judge Judy.
Hello, Judge. Case 2119, Crane versus Crane.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well, Miss Crane, this is a very sad case. This is your daughter.
Yes, it is.
And I don't know how many children that you have, but I know that you had a son who was in medical school, who was, how old, 25 years old?
30.
30. Sounds as if he was a popular young man. He was in an outing with friends, and sadly, he drowned.
Yes, he did.
And that happened,
women.
just a second, and that happened when?
That happened July 29th of this year.
This is what the case is about. His friends, in his memory, started a GoFundMe page.
Correct.
And there is approximately $40,000 in that GoFundMe page.
There was, yes.
I said approximately.
Yes.
There was. And your daughter is, for want of a better word, in charge of that Facebook page GoFundMe proceeds.
Correct.
And it is your claim that as the next of kin, because he died without a will, you are entitled to some or all of that Facebook page.
It doesn't even matter about the GoFundMe funds. I mean, that would be nice in a perfect world, but my daughter took everything. From the day my son passed, when they found his body at the river, the coroner gave her the keys to his truck, and she went to his apartment and emptied it. So I didn't get my chance to be Josh's mom for the last time. I didn't get to empty his apartment.
I can't cure that, madam.
No.
I can't cure that.
No.
And you can't put any sort of a value on anything that your daughter might have taken from that apartment, because you don't know what was there.
Correct.
So I can't help you with that. In a perfect world, maybe she would have gone with you to the apartment, but she didn't.
Correct.
Based upon what I read, you were not there during the search for your son or the discovery of his body. Is that correct?
I was at home.
Okay. And your daughter was there?
Yes, she was.
And I assume that you were close to your brother?
Absolutely close to my brother.
Just curious, what prevented you? You were notified that your son was missing. What prevented you from going there?
My daughter was at the house the day Josh went missing, and we had my car torn apart. She left after they called her, and I definitely would have hitched a ride, but I didn't have a vehicle.
Your
to
Honor,
get
I got...
Just a second. Did you say she was at your house?
Yes, she was.
Well, then why didn't you go with her?
They didn't call till after she had left, apparently, and rather than come back and get me...
You mean she left to go someplace else?
She left to go home. Yeah, we were working on my car. She left to go home, and she got a call from Search and Rescue. I hadn't been answering my phone.
Oh, well, that's a different story. You hadn't been answering your phone. It wasn't as if nobody called you.
No, she didn't call.
It wasn't as if nobody called you. Did somebody call you?
Right, from Search and Rescue, yes.
Somebody called you?
Yes.
Okay. Mrs. Crane, this is your problem. If your son passed away without a will, and I'm sure that somebody else, maybe a professional has told you that, a legal professional has told you that, if your son passed away without a will, depending upon the laws in your jurisdiction, you, as his parent, might be construed as next of kin, and any property that he owned at the time of his death would transfer to you.
Right, correct, yes.
He didn't own the GoFundMe page at the time he died.
No, he did not.
So you don't get it.
Okay.
Any part of it.
Okay.
Your Honor,
The
she
people-
already received funds from the GoFundMe as well.
Just a second. The people that set up the GoFundMe page, I assume, were classmates of your brother's?
Yes, they were his other fourth-year medical students that had reached out to me and asked if they could...
Don't tell me what they asked you. They set up a GoFundMe page. Do you have the paperwork for the GoFundMe page? I'd like to see it.
Jessica produces a document, then hands it to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Okay, so they raised $39,287.
Correct.
Okay. Is there anything that is in writing that makes you either the beneficiary of...
The organizer of
Would you do me a favor, look it up?
Underneath the photo.
It does say that I am the beneficiary listed on there.
Thank you.
Sarah looks at the document, then hands it back to Judy.
You're Jessica.
I am.
Okay. Is organizing this fundraiser on behalf of Jessica Crane. That's her.
That has changed. Initially, it was for Joshua Crane, and with the legal
Just show me.
It's never been for...
Show me. Just a second. Mrs. Crane.
Yes.
It wouldn't make any difference, but I'm willing to look at something that originally it was on behalf of somebody else.
The reason I'm here today is not because of the GoFundMe.
Your Honor, that's exactly why she's here. It's the money. It's always been about the money.
Carol shakes her head. Caption, coming up.
All right, how are you going to pay the note on a $14,000 truck?
I plan on returning to work. This incident has taken my job, believe it or not.
Actually, I don't believe it.
Your Honor, I work
Just
3 jobs.
Just a second. Actually, I don't believe it.
And later today,
What kind of narcotics were found inside the vehicle?
It's alleged that it was a...
No, it's not alleged. This is a police report. I'm asking you, what kind of narcotics were found in your car?
A woman shakes her head. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Carol and Jessica.
Carol Crane claims her daughter, Jessica Crane, is wrongfully keeping her son's property and money from his GoFundMe fundraiser.
This is your complaint. I'm suing the defendant, Jessica Crane, in the amount of $10,000 for my portion of my deceased son's GoFundMe account and personal items, including my son's guitars and his vehicle.
Correct.
Okay. Now you're not looking for his GoFundMe account.
I never really was, because I never knew the law on GoFundMe. I tried to find out and speak to someone about it and get legal advice, and I could never find anyone.
Well, it's very easy. He didn't own this property while he was alive, so you have no title to it. If they said that they're starting a GoFundMe page in the name of your son to be for the benefit of animal rescue, you wouldn't have any control over that.
No, it was meant for his funeral costs.
Just a second.
Which I also paid
It says,
for, Your
just a
Honor.
second, on behalf of Jessica Crane.
Right.
On behalf of Jessica Crane, just for my own curiosity, I'd like to know, your son was buried at some point?
He was cremated.
He was cremated.
And I have the receipts. I paid for his obituary, his cremation.
Okay, so what I'm asking you is, there were no serious funeral costs?
I got everything donated on my funeral.
That's not true as
Just a second. I'm asking you, Mrs. Crane, did you pay anything for your son's funeral?
No.
Okay, that's all. So it's not as if you had any outlay of money for this. You know what I find sort of troublesome? I find troublesome that his friends, because that sometimes happens, it's human nature, you feel so badly about something, you want to do something, and probably the easiest thing to do is to raise money. And the easiest thing for probably these people who are in their 20s and 30s is to start a GoFundMe page. I mean, it just would seem to me if they wanted to do a scholarship for him at the school, if they wanted to do something else, this is for those people out there who are watching, who are GoFundMe people. I've seen some of the more ridiculous ones, you know, and there are good-natured people out there who see these things and will donate $5 and $10. Oh, my goodness, they need funeral costs. Well, in this case, there were no issues, and almost all this money, $40,000, is left. What are you going to do with it?
So there's a couple things that I planned on doing with it. It's why the money has been sitting in account.
I just want the people who donated this money to know what you're going to do with it. It's not for you to buy anything for yourself.
Your Honor.
That would be ridiculous. That's not what was in their minds. So I want to know who I'm dealing with.
Your Honor, after all of Josh's expenses were paid for, which I paid for using that money. I am very close with the dean at UC Davis, who is a good friend of my brother's as well, and they have talked about setting up a scholarship fund for my brother, and I was going to donate a portion of that money back if UC Davis decides to set that up on his behalf. And then I also wanted to set up scholarship funds for my sons, who my brother was very close with.
So what you're telling me is you're going to give a little to UC Davis for a scholarship in his name, and you're going to use some for your two sons for their education.
Absolutely.
Well, that's really not what it was intended to do. I'm just telling you, it was not what it was intended to do.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's how GoFundMes are set up. People can set them up for an intended purpose, and they're used for anything. But I'm just telling the people out there, before you spend money on a GoFundMe page, make sure it's going to go to a place where you want it to go and for the intended purpose you want it, which is to somehow celebrate the life of this young man that was cut short so tragically. And it would seem to me, Miss Crane, you don't have to do anything because they made you the beneficiary of this money. But it would seem to me that a stand-up person would take whatever is left of that and create a scholarship in his name at UC Davis, which is where he went to school. I can't order you to do that, but I'm just telling you, and everybody else out there, make sure if you have a good heart and a good spirit, you know where your money is going. Okay, so you're not entitled to any of the money. Now, did you take your brother's guitars? I cleared out my brother's entire...
Just a second.
Yes, Your Honor.
Just answer the question. And how many guitars did you take?
3.
Where are they?
They're at my house.
Now, I don't have to do this. Would you like one of your son's guitars?
Yes, very
Would you
much
like
so.
one of your son's guitars? Do you have any of your son's guitars?
None.
Your Honor, my mom has a long history of substance abuse. She's bought gifts for me in the past, and she's pawned them off. And I would like to keep them in my family, so that's where they stay. So that's why I have possession of them, because I don't want them going to a pawn shop.
I was told I could visit one of my son's guitars at her home.
Just a second, do you play guitar?
No. I just want it because it's my son's, and
Well,
I bought 3 of his guitars for him.
None of these guitars were purchased by her. They're very expensive guitars. My brother purchased
I can't
every one
order
of
her to
these
do
guitars.
anything. I'm just asking her whether she would give you one of the guitars. And she said no. The next thing we have here is a vehicle. Now, tell me about the vehicle.
So Josh didn't have a lot. He was a fourth-year medical student. He has a truck, a Toyota, a 2019 Toyota Tacoma, that he still owes about $14,000 on. I have that here, $13,841.76 on. And at the time, his truck was at the boat launch where they found him. So when I met with the sheriffs, they gave me possession of the keys. They found his keys on his body, and they gave me his keys. So we brought the truck up to where we live in Northern California, took the truck up there, and it's been kept in storage until this is all sorted out. I personally wanted to keep the truck. I have the means to finance the truck in my name. I have the means to make a payment. She does not have the means to make a payment. She doesn't have a job. She doesn't have a driver's license. She can't provide insurance for it. I mean, she has driving.
That's not particularly relevant. There's $14,000 left on it. Are you employed?
I was until
Just to say, the answer is either yes or no. Are you employed?
No.
All right, how are you going to pay the note on a $14,000 truck?
I plan on returning to work. This incident has taken my job, believe it or not.
Actually, I don't believe it.
Your Honor, I work
Just
3 jobs.
Just a second. Actually, I don't believe it.
Okay.
So the answer is, if you can't afford to make the payments on this truck, and the only thing that's going to happen is it's going to be repossessed by the bank. Have you been making payments on the truck?
I have not made a payment.
Who is the finance company?
Credit union.
Where is the truck currently stored? Give me the address.
I don't have an exact address.
And later today,
You don't understand something, sir. Even though she was high on drugs and passed out in her car and you were not at fault, it's not windfall day. That's ridiculous. And I'm not stupid.
A man sighs. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Carol and Jessica.
Carol Crane claims her daughter, Jessica Crane, is wrongfully keeping her son's property and money from his GoFundMe fundraiser.
I want to see the paperwork on the loan.
Jessica produces a document, then hands it to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Okay. Sarah, when we finish with this case, call credit union, advise them who has the truck, let them go repossess the truck. We're finished here. Your case is dismissed.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Carol.
I had an addiction problem, and she's just angry. She's angry at me, and I've tried to make amends. I've tried to get this better, and she won't have it. My daughter got away with taking absolutely everything, and she wasn't entitled to it.
Judy and Sarah.
I think that if there's any lesson to be taken away, aside from the fact that you're not supposed to fight, when you lose somebody so young and so vital, the one innocent party is the credit union who loaned him the money to buy the truck. She's been hiding the truck now for 5 months, hasn't made a payment on it. The right thing to do is for her to turn that truck into the credit union, because I can't control that, except that I can advise the credit union where she is, who she is, that she has possession of the truck, and they should go and repossess it. Anyway, it's all very sad. Before you donate money to a GoFundMe page, make sure you know where the money is going. I think that's the takeaway from this.
Case 2161, Shaheen versus Larry. All parties, please step forward.
Jamal Shaheen is suing his neighbor, Sabrina Larry, for car damage after Sabrina hit his vehicle and a house.
Mr. Shaheen, tell me where you live.
I live in Moorhead, Minnesota.
And on September 8th of this year, you parked your relatively new car that, according to you, you got a week before.
No, Your Honor.
I had just purchased a Sequoia a week before.
No, actually, it's not. It's not the new car. I mean, it's a used car, but I purchased it maybe a year before that, not exactly a week.
Okay. So it's not a new car, and you didn't purchase it a week before?
No.
But you parked it in front of your house. Do you have a photograph of the car?
I do.
I'd like to see it. And it is your claim that the defendant, Miss Larry, while under some sort of influence of some sort of substance, was driving her car, had an accident, hit your car, and caused it to move 25 feet, and it was damaged.
Yes.
And the damage to the car was the rear bumper.
Yep.
Not yep. Yes is the answer.
Yes.
Yes is the answer. Okay. Miss Larry, what time did you have your accident?
9 or 10 a.m.
On the 8th?
Yes.
Where were you coming from?
The grocery store.
Where were you going?
Home.
What kind of drugs had you taken?
I was taking Benadryl, prescription medication. That's all I had. That's what I took. And
Can I see the police report? You remember hitting his car?
no.
You remember the police coming to where your car stopped?
No, I don't remember the police coming.
Well, did the police come?
They did, yes.
And you don't remember that?
I don't remember that.
Were you taken to a hospital?
I was.
You have the discharge notes from the hospital?
I do.
I'd like to see it. What kind of narcotics were found inside the vehicle?
It's alleged that it was a...
No, it's not alleged. This is a police report. I'm asking you. What kind of narcotics were found in your car?
They said that they found a round blue pill that had an M30 on it. That's what it stated.
Sarah, do me a favor.
Sure.
Look up under illegal drugs M30.
Sarah turns to Judy.
So M30s imitate oxycodone obtained from a pharmacy, but when sold on the streets, the pills routinely contain fentanyl.
Look up this name, Percocet. You smoke Percocet? How do you smoke Percocet? That's the only thing you remembered. You didn't remember the accident. Patient remembers smoking Percocet pill just prior to allegedly passing out and crashing her vehicle. That's what they say from your doctor.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Well, that's what they're saying. The history is provided by the patient. The history is limited by condition of the patient. History is limited because the patient does not remember the actual automobile accident. Remembers smoking Percocet pill just prior to allegedly passing out and crashing her vehicle. You think the doctor made that up? And they just so happened to have found this blue pill in your console in your car?
That's what they are saying.
Okay. You actually know you could have killed yourself. Yeah. Okay. And you don't remember anything about it because that's what you told them. You don't remember anything about anything after you smoked the little blue pill, which is what they said. So your car was moved. That's the damage to your car.
Yep.
So can I see the estimate for the damage, please?
I think
You gave it to me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Have you had the car fixed?
Just the back tail light that I had to put it on. I was trying to fix it, but don't have any money to do it.
Sarah, look up, please, would you?
I'm looking it up right now.
Oh, great. Thank you. Oh, it's a 21-year-old car. It's got 226,000 miles on it. How much did you pay for it, sir?
I paid 10.
We're not going to spend 7 to fix it.
Well, that's how much it costs.
You find somebody to do it less.
Well, now I am without a car.
You're not without a car, sir. You put on the tail light so that you could drive it. This car is not drivable.
That car was dragged. That back axle, it shakes. I can't drive it in
Between
a
2 and 5,000.
Between 2 and 5,000. You paid too much for the car, sir. You don't understand something, sir. Even though she was high on drugs and passed out in her car and you were not at fault, it's not windfall day. If you can buy the car for $2,000, buy an old 22-year-old car for $2,000. She's not paying you $7,000 to fix a $2,000 car. That's ridiculous. And I'm not stupid. Do we understand each other? Now, between
2,500 and 5,000 based off of a 250,000 mile 2002 Toyota.
So you have to find somebody who's going to fix your car for $3,000, sir. That's $1,000 more than you could buy it for. We're done here. Judgment for the plaintiff.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Shamal then Sabrina.
I would remember if I hit a car, and I didn't.
She ran into my car, run into a garage.
I know exactly what I took, and it definitely wasn't narcotics.
That area that I was living in, it's a really bad area. A lot of drugs are going on over there.
I'm very, very lucky. I'm very blessed. Like she said, I could be dead.
Sarah and Judy.
Just the audacity of some plaintiffs to come in here with an almost 22-year-old car with 275,000 miles on it. And I looked it up, and I even priced it on the positive end, the private party value, not a trade-in and so forth. $7,000 he was comfortable asking the court for a car that's not even worth $7,000.
Yeah, he'll buy.
For a back panel.
Buy a new one. He was lying when I said, how much did you pay for the car? $10,000. That's ridiculous. And he just bought it, he said, a year ago. In the papers, he said he bought it a week before. So either it was a week or a year.
Either way, not worth $7,000.
Not worth $7,000.
Title, Judy Justice.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv. Jeremy DeTorres is suing his former employer, Chad Young, for unpaid wages and filing a false restraining order.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Case 2140, DeTorres versus Young.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. DeTorres, according to your complaint, you did some work for the defendant as a plumber. Didn't work out, and he terminated you, and he owes you some wages.
Yes, ma'am.
The defendant says that while your work in the beginning was okay, you were never an employee of his. You're an independent contractor. That's the way he sets it up, and he's going to explain that to me. That he paid you your wages, even though the last job that you did cost him an awful lot to repair. He was not happy with the quality of work that you did, and his counterclaim is for vandalism, something that happened with his truck, work hours, lost duty, or incompetence. That I'm not going to hear, sir. You know, you make a choice with an employee, and If it turns out to be something that is less than satisfactory, then you let them go. But the one who I assume suffered from what you call lack of quality work that he performed was the person that you were working for. Was that a private residence that he was doing work in?
Yes. Yeah, a bunch of
that's
private residents.
Yeah, that's the person who suffered.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so we're going to make this as easy as possible. From what days to what days did you work?
I worked for Chad from June 13th to August 3rd.
And how much were you supposed to be paid?
For those 3 days, $840.
And that's for 3 days' work?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you say June 13th?
Yes, ma'am.
To August 3rd?
Correct.
Well, that's more than 3 days.
No, his wage he owes me from August 1st to August 3rd is what he did not pay me for.
Okay, and where did you work during those days?
Multiple residents.
Okay, do you have any sort of a call log from him?
I do. It's right here in my
Do you dispute that he worked from August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd?
Yes.
You dispute that
There was one day he actually did one of my jobs for a couple hours that day.
Doesn't matter. He has a log.
Half a day for one day.
Did you pay him for that half day?
I did not, because the job was done incorrectly multiple times.
But he did that job. Okay, now, do you have a log?
As in?
It's some sort of a work log. You have a business. You have people who are general contractors. You get a call. You don't have a payroll because you pay these people independently. Do you pay them in cash or check?
Both.
Well, how did you pay him?
Sometimes it was through a cashier's check and sometimes it was cash.
Okay, but never through a company check where you deducted Social Security.
No, because I 1099 all my employees, so they're all self-employed, so they have to do all that on their own.
I do understand. I mean, you're not the inventor of this whole system, sir, of paying in cash. Okay. Are you one of those independent contractors?
Yes, ma'am.
Stand up. How long have you been an independent contractor?
I've been contracted with Chad since July 5th.
Of what year?
This year, 2022.
Oh, so short term.
Yes, ma'am.
Does he pay you in check or cash? No, look at me.
Check it first, and then later on it became through Venmo, and then it's gone back to check now.
What kind of check?
Cashier's check.
Just a straight cashier's check with nothing taken out?
No, ma'am.
No, I go to my bank to get all that.
What?
I go to my bank to get the cashier's checks, and sometimes I Venmo him the payment too, just to pay.
I understand, but sir, you're not the first person who I know who pays their people in cash and says that you're independent contractors. You're independent contractors. I don't want to know about it. What name do you use for the cashier's checks?
My personal name.
Is this the first time you've worked for him?
Yes.
Okay, let me see what you have for August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Where did you work? Come on.
There were multiple residents, ma'am.
Well, you have to tell me so that he can answer. He says that you worked half a day that he didn't pay you for.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's say that's a full day. So that's $200.
Okay. See, he would email it on his work phone, and I'd follow the addresses there.
Well, then you would have it on your phone.
My short notes on this.
Just a second. Then you would have it on your phone.
It was his company phone. He took it back when he came to my house unannounced and told me that I was fired. Redeemed his truck. Got my tools out of his vehicle.
Okay, just a second. Do you have your phone?
I do. I have my personal one that I talk.
What about the phone that you took from him?
No, that one's actually broke, so it's been with Mo for the past week.
Let me see the notes that you have that you took.
Yes, ma'am.
Jeremy hands a notepad to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
Fascinating.
It's my shorthand, ma'am.
How do I know what dates these are for?
It was all on his phone, ma'am.
Well, that's not him to have to prove, sir.
I wasn't able to prove anything when he took his phone back. I just had that's the notes when I was employed for him as I wrote down.
It's not helpful to me.
Yes, ma'am.
So far, the only thing that he's acknowledged is that he owes you a day's wages.
Yes, ma'am.
Just $210. The other part of your complaint is a false restraining order against you.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you file a restraining order against him? Do you have a copy of what you wrote in your restraining order?
I do.
I'd like to see it.
Chad hands the document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
So what got me that restraining order is he called and made threats and made
Was this after you fired him?
It was.
Okay, so after you fired him, he called you.
Made threats.
Well, what did he say when he called you?
Just basically talking about I'm going to come to your house and everything.
He wanted money.
I guess, yeah.
He said, you didn't pay me.
Yeah.
Okay. You say you got a text message and voicemail from Jeremy threatening to come to my place of residence.
Yes.
Can I hear it?
Yeah. Do you want me to play it, or do you want to look at it?
I want to look at it.
Okay.
So, Mr. Torres, did you, after he fired you and came to your residence, took your house, did you call him threatening to come to his house?
I did.
You did?
With the police. It says it on these text messages, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to take his phone and those text messages.
Kevin brings documents and Chad's phone to Judy.
There's more text. That's just the one where he said he'd send me my money.
That's the voicemail if you want me to play it for you. Sometimes the transcription doesn't work.
Yeah.
You want me to play it?
Just.
Sarah presses a button on Chad's phone.
Hey, bro. I definitely worked more than 9 hours for the last week that I worked for you. I'll be contacting my... Play with me. I'll show up at your house.
Yeah, that's a threat.
With the police.
Just a second. That's a threat.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I've had more.
That's a threat.
I had more incidents before that as well.
May I say something, ma'am? He accused me of going into his gated community, slashing tires on his work vehicle. I stated that I was going to come to his house after, if you read my text, I said to him, hey, bro, I think I misunderstood your text message. If I did, my bad. If not, I'll show up at your house with the police. I never went to his house. I waited to see if he'd be the big man and just send me my money like he said he would.
I listened to the message, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
The message sounded threatening.
Did you read the rest of them?
I don't care. That message sounded threatening.
Caption coming up.
Where does it say here that his tires were slashed?
In my mind, somebody writing that against me, flattened tires, what else would it be?
But you have to understand that that's not what this says.
And later today.
I was financially struggling.
Well, you weren't living together at the time.
No, she would periodically come over and
yeah, but you weren't living together at the time. So how would she find out that you were in financial trouble?
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Jeremy and Chad.
Jeremy DeTorres claims his former employer, Chad Young, owes for unpaid wages and filing a false restraining order.
Okay, that message alone, if he felt threatened because you were going to come to his house, and you not only said you were going to come to his house, but you used an expletive before you did that, which sounded threatening. This may be more benign, but that phone message was sufficient for him to file for a protective order against you.
Okay, why didn't he show up at the protective custody order?
I don't answer your questions.
No,
you don't necessarily.
Absolutely.
Some people don't pursue it because once it's done, it's done.
It wasn't done.
And once it's
this
done,
is the dismissal right here. Dismissal for the
No, I didn't show up. I understand he didn't show up, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
But I'm saying to you, I listened to your text message, and he had an absolute right to see.
Can you see where he threatened me as well with all these back and forth texts and calling each other? Because it's in the text
You're
messages.
suing him for money owed for wages and filing a false restraining order.
Okay.
You've proven that you worked an additional day for which he didn't pay you, which is $210. He has a counterclaim. Yeah. He says that you vandalized the tires on his car. The rest of it, I'm not dealing with, sir. You picked this employee. You don't then sue the employee if you don't like the job that they do. You fire him and you get somebody else to do the job. But you can't sue him because did the person who you did the job for sue you?
No, because I've got a really good reputation with my customers.
Because you fixed it. Mm-hmm. Because it wasn't done right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even up to that last day I said he worked for me, that job I had to go back to 2 weeks ago. That they couldn't close on the house.
The next time you won't hire him. Yeah. Maybe other people won't either. But I want you to tell me about the tires. I want you to tell me what proof do you have that he had anything to do with your tires? When were the tires slashed, flattened?
So the police report was done Friday when he made the threats.
Friday. What's the date?
I got the date right here. I think it was
August 5th.
Yeah, so August 5th is when he did it.
August 5th is when
the police report was made for the threats.
For the threat, for the voicemail?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so it was the end of the day Friday, so court's closed for the weekend.
August 5th.
Yep. And then Monday, the 8th, I went outside to go to work. My tires were slashed in the end. At that point, I realized it was just over and done, and I need to go down and get a restraining order so people can't come onto my, my property.
Because
area.
you believed it was the plaintiff who was responsible. You believed you didn't have proof at the time.
Yes.
You didn't have proof.
Again, and even in my injunction, I knew all I needed was this police report to get the injunction, so I just put in my police report.
You're not talking about an injunction. You're talking about a restraining order.
Yeah, the restraining order. Yeah.
Okay.
So I went to file the restraining. So in my restraining order, I put just my tires were flat. I did not put my tires were slashed at any point because I knew the police report was enough to get the restraining order.
Okay, your
so I
tires
didn't go
were
in
flat.
detail about my tires.
Okay, so in the police report, you have that your tires were flattened.
No, that wasn't on the police report because that didn't happen yet. The tire incident did not happen.
Okay.
That happened Friday. Monday morning, I went out in my vehicle to go to work. That's when I found them flat and slashed.
Did you file another police report?
That's when I went and filed the restraining order that day. And
Okay, and in the application for a restraining order, you said?
That my tires were flat, and that was it.
Yes, okay.
I didn't mention that they were slashed.
Correct.
So I don't know how he would know my tires were slashed if I didn't mention it on my restraining order.
I don't know. That's an interesting question. Mr. DeTorres. Mr. DeTorres, stop your paper fluttering.
Okay.
What made you think that the defendant's tires were slashed rather than just the air let out of them?
Because I read this police report and it has a mark right here saying, or the file that he did.
Show me. And make a circle.
Right here, damaged property is what I read. He checked that I damaged his property because this is written against me.
Mr. DeTorres, do you understand my question, sir?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. I'm nervous in the
Just
flight.
a second. This has nothing to do with nerves,
You're
Mr.
right.
DeTorres.
Well, I had no sleep last night.
That has nothing to do with sleep.
As far as not being...
Just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
What I'm asking you, Mr. DeTorres, is where does it say here that his tires were slashed?
In my mind, somebody writing that against me, flattened tires, what else would it be? He lives in a gated community.
Well, that could
Where's
be...
the surveillance showing me that my leg injury, the way I walk, is very distinctive, okay? If he's got proof that I slashed or flattened his tires, I said slashed. It's the same thing as flattened in my mind. That's the way I think. The way I read that, that's just how it came out of my mouth.
But you have to understand that that's not what this says.
Okay? It says that I damaged his
He
property.
said damaged his property, and you said slashed tires.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
How much were the tires?
$450.
Let me see the receipt.
I do not have a receipt because I paid cash for my tires.
Well, that's too bad. You better stop paying cash, sir. You can pay cash for tires.
Yeah.
But when you buy tires with cash and you want to sue for them, you get a receipt.
Yeah.
From the people. And if you know you're coming to court, we're not talking about things that happened 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You were coming to court today.
I went back to the tire shop, and he's like, we just, we always do cash for all your vehicles. And
Well, what's the cash for all your vehicles? That means you get a receipt. All right, your counterclaim's dismissed because you have no proof of anything. On the complaint, sir, I'm awarding you $210, which is 1 day's pay. Thank you very much. This case is over.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Chad, then Jeremy.
The work just wasn't up to the quality that he promised he was going to offer.
It is what it is.
That's just his nature. That's always been his nature.
The judgment is what the judgment is. She felt like I was only awarded a day's pay, and that's what she gave me.
Keep doing what I do. That's all I can do every day.
Judy and Sarah.
Well, Sarah Rose, that is the perfect example of you're supposed to have proof when you come to court.
Yep. Standard of proof exists for a reason.
I know that when I go someplace, and sometimes I pay cash. Mm-hmm. So even if you pay cash for something,
there's some
or Venmo,
record. Venmo,
you're supposed to get a receipt in the event that you want to use whatever you bought and use that fact that you purchased something in a subsequent lawsuit.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as sending a gift. If you send somebody a gift, you keep the receipt until you know that they got the gift.
Yeah.
Then you take it and you throw it away. It's just
good bookkeeping. It's good record keeping.
And he's a business guy.
Yeah.
He's a business guy. Didn't make sense to me, but clearly plaintiff was somebody who has a little trouble.
Yeah.
Kevin.
Case 2137, Wise versus Light. All parties, please step forward.
Caitlin Weiss is suing her ex-boyfriend, Cody Light, for unpaid loans.
Ms. Weiss, the defendant was a boyfriend of yours for a period of time.
Correct.
And you allege a couple of loans. One from a year and a half ago, the balance of a $200 loan, he paid you back $100.
Yes.
Quite frankly, I'm not interested in what happened a year and a half ago.
Caption, coming up.
What you say is, I need time to catch up.
It was a verbal conversation.
Well, what's in writing is you saying to her, I can make payments to you. But the thing that you don't have in writing is where she gave the loan. Is that right?
Cody nods and shrugs. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Caitlin and Cody.
Caitlin Weiss claims her ex-boyfriend, Cody Lipe, is refusing to pay back loans she gave him during their relationship.
Okay, in March of this year, you allege that you gave him money. He was still your boyfriend in March of this year, is that right?
Yes.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
And in March of this year, he had gotten a car. What kind of car did you get?
It was a Buick Regal.
What year?
A 2004, I believe.
Where did you get it from?
I got it from a private seller.
How much did you pay for it?
$850.
Needed fixing.
Yes.
And you didn't have money for parts.
I did for the first round of parts.
But you didn't for the second?
After the first ones failed, I did not.
And how much did you need for parts?
That I don't remember.
Who bought them?
Miss Weiss did.
Did you buy them on a credit card?
I believe so, yes.
And you have no idea what you paid for those parts?
I don't remember.
But that would be in March of 2022.
It would have been in April.
Did you pay for the parts by credit card?
Yes, I paid between Cash App transactions that were transferred to Mr. Lipe through Cash App, which I have present here.
I'd like to see proof of them. What do they total?
They totaled up to $920.
Does that sound about right, Mr. Lippe?
That's about right.
Okay. And tell me about the discussion that you had with her when she paid for these parts.
There was a discussion of how I was going to pay her back.
And what did you tell her?
I did agree at that time.
And then what happened?
There were then later discussions as we were still in a relationship and I was in financial troubles that she told me not to worry about it.
This $920 was a loan in April of 2022. That's what you say. It was in April, not March.
Correct.
And then you say at some point she forgave that loan.
Right.
Tell me when that happened.
Shortly after the car got back together, which would have been in May. I was financially struggling.
Well, you weren't living together at the time?
No, she would periodically come over and
but you weren't living together at the time. So how would she find out that you were in financial trouble?
I mean, we were at that state in our relationship where she knew basically my financials all the time.
When did the two of you break up?
I believe that was in June.
So shortly after you say she forgave the loan.
That is correct.
Did you ever forgive this $920 loan?
No, I did not. Brennan Black was there the day that I had confronted Cody at a car meet and had offered him a short little payment of $790 where Cody said he would do it in payments.
Just a minute. You broke up in June.
Correct.
He says that you had a conversation before that, sometime in May, where you knew he was in financial difficulty. Did you ever have that conversation with him?
No, that is incorrect. I do have statements here to prove it as well.
I'd like to see them.
Caitlin hands documents to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She reviews a transcript of a text exchange.
So then you said he owed you $970. He had been giving you some money?
Yes, he had been giving me
It says, so that puts you at $670, okay? That's what you wrote.
Correct. He had been giving me money periodically throughout the beginning of the car parts.
Okay, but it says, so that puts you at $670, okay?
Yes, there's more transactions on the Cash Apps as well.
Oh, after that?
Yes, correct. Sorry.
No, sir. What you say is I need time to catch up. There's no forgiving here unless you have some...
It was a verbal conversation.
Well, what's in writing...
Right.
What's in writing is you saying to her, I need some time to catch up. I can make payments to you. All of that is in writing. But the thing that you don't have in writing is where she gave the loan. Is that right?
He shrugs.
Yeah. $920. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done here. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Cody, then Caitlin.
It is what it is.
I think it was fair. Mr. Lipe did owe me money, and he got what he deserved.
Yes, she lent me the money, but at the same time, she was helping me out in a relationship, and she knew I was struggling.
He said he was going to pay me back and never followed through even after that.
There were discussions about her telling me not to worry about it.
Not to trust so much.
I'm never going to do it again.
Oh, that's going to be a contract.
Judy and Sarah.
She was very prepared.
Oh, she was to the point, knew exactly what she needed.
And she had all of her evidence.
Yep.
All
just the way we like it.
All lined up. It's unfortunate when a loan becomes a gift and a gift then becomes a loan when the romance is over. These writings are always so helpful, and these text messages really are making my life much easier.
And one thing that I mention a lot is with Cash App or Venmo, always state if you're paying someone money, don't just send the money, put in the subject line. They have a subject line on those for a reason, for this car part, for this tow, for this XYZ, the other. So I always, when using Venmo or Cash App or something like that in an online transfer system, I'll send the money, and then in the transaction, you can put whatever you want in the memo line of Venmo. So housekeeping for me, I'll pay through that. Or other things, I list housekeeping for, and I put the date and the hours. So I at least have a record of who I'm paying electronically.
If you buy food,
or if I give someone money for dinner for half my meal, I say for my dinner on XYZ date.
And then you can get a printout.
Organized. Exactly.
And then you can, like a bank account?
Yep.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
It just keeps it organized. So I love it when litigants come in ready to go.
Well, that's good advice for people who use Venmo, to use the subject line.
Exactly. It makes our job easier.
Good. Title, Judy Justice.
Are you a victim of a scam? Go to judyjustice.tv. Former friend, Jacob Knapp, for dental and medical bills.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy enters.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Case 2110, Costello versus Knapp.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Costello, you and Mr. Knapp were out drinking in the park.
Yes.
Date and time.
The date and time was around 3 a.m., and it was on 9/11 of 2021.
And you've known Mr. Knapp for how long?
Roughly 9 years. We started off playing high school baseball.
And when had you first met up on September 11th?
I can't remember the exact time. I would say around maybe 7 p.m.
Where?
At a bar over in Old Town Pasadena. We weren't meeting up.
Just a second.
Yeah.
So you were in a bar in Pasadena, 7 p.m., just the two of you, or were there more people?
No.
How many were there in the whole group?
I had around 5 or 6 people in my group, and we went
all
to a
friends?
Bar. Yeah.
And you?
He wasn't a part of that group.
But you were at the bar?
No, ma'am. I was at work when he contacted me.
Okay, so so you were at the bar starting at 7 with your friends. He wasn't there?
Yeah.
Okay, what time did he join you?
It wasn't, I couldn't tell you the exact time.
Approximately?
About an hour later.
At the bar?
Yeah, but it wasn't a text or anything like that. He just happened to go to the same bar.
No, ma'am. What ended up happening from the start, I was at work. He contacted me via text. I don't
Do you have that text?
No, ma'am. I tried to erase the whole memory from my mind, so I deleted all the pictures and all the text messages.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate.
Yes.
That's unfortunate. I've never done that, by the way. You know, wanted to erase something from my mind, so I didn't just say I'm not going to think about it anymore. I've never done that. Did you ever do that, Sarah?
I have not.
You have not? And she's pretty efficient with text messages. Did you ever do that?
Never have I done that.
No. Well, you must be unusual, sir. Okay, so you met at the bar. What time did you get there?
Well, my shift ended at around 9 o'clock.
What time did you get to the bar?
10 o'clock.
And when you got to the bar, you met Mr. Costello.
Yes, ma'am.
He had a few friends with him. How long did you stay at the bar?
We were there till 12.
Okay, so Mr. Costello, you had been drinking from 7 until about 12.
Correct.
The answer is yes. Yes, of course. And what's your drink of choice, sir?
Beer.
What else?
The first bar that we were at doesn't serve hard alcohol, so it was just beer there.
Okay, so from 7 to when were you at the first bar?
Yeah.
From 7 to when?
7 to when? Till 12.
12.
Yeah.
So it's 7 to 12.
At the same time as well.
Okay, so from 7 to 12 you were drinking beer.
Yeah.
And then where did you go at 12 o'clock?
After 12 o'clock, we ended up going to another bar in Arcadia.
Okay, and you stayed there from when to when?
From 12 to closing, which is 2 a.m.
And you were part of that group?
Yes, that's when I initially met the group.
At the second bar or
at the
first?
second bar, yes.
Not at the first bar?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so you got to the second bar, you were there you said you were there at 10 o'clock.
Yes.
So they weren't there when you arrived?
They were there when I arrived, yes.
Well, he said that, I thought he said he got to the second bar at 12 o'clock.
I arrived at the bar at around 10 o'clock, ma'am.
And you got there at 12 o'clock?
Yeah.
Yeah. So by the time you all got together and left the bar, you had all been drinking, you for a very long time and you for a shorter time.
Yes, ma'am.
So from 10 to 2, so 4 hours. And what's your drink of choice?
10 to 12, Your Honor. I apologize. 10 to 12.
Where did you go at 12 o'clock?
12 o'clock is when we had all decided to go to a park, kind of a low-key area.
No, he said that he went to a bar between 7 and 12. Am I correct, Whitney? Did he say?
12.
He said you were at the bar, first bar, between 7 and 12, drinking beer. That's what you said.
Correct.
You said the first bar only served beer. Is not an answer. Yes is an answer. You say at 12 o'clock, you went to a second bar where you had alcohol between 12 and 2.
Yes.
Yes?
Correct.
You got to a bar at 10 o'clock.
Yes.
Which one? The beer bar or the alcohol bar?
I finished my shift, like I said, at 9, and I showed up at the bar at 10 to meet up with them, to try to rekindle an old friendship.
Okay. Yeah. I actually don't care about that. All right, so partially you got your story straight, partially not. Anyway, you were 2 drunks. Now it's after 2 o'clock, and you decide to go to a park. How many people went to a park, and what park?
It was the same amount of people that I was with from the start.
And you were along at the park?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, it was.
Okay, did you take any beers to the park, or you went without them? You took beers to the park. The answer is yes.
Yeah, the main reasoning of going to the park was after the bar had closed. Jacob mentioned to the group that he had beers with him. So that incited us to go to the park and have some
To continue
beers with him.
drinking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, prior to me showing up, I did stop by 7-Eleven and pick
Okay, so you had beers with you, and you were at the bar?
Yes.
Nice, very good. Now you get to the park, you're drinking beers. Now you're going to describe what you say is the assault that you suffered at the hands of Mr. Knapp. Now, I want you to know my feeling before you tell me the story.
Okay.
I usually don't get myself overly exercised about what drunks do in a park. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
I know that you may be all exercised about it, although I'm not exactly sure you're all exercised about it. So if you really are, I'm going to listen to you. If you're not, we just eliminate this case. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Caption, coming up.
If he just simply tossed me a beer, I don't understand how a beer can could chip my tooth the way that it
Just
did.
a second. I can eat a biscotti and it can chip my tooth. Biscotti, that's a cookie. And I mean, I could chip my tooth on my grandmother's steak. It was so hard.
Jacob smirks. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Giovanni and Jacob.
Giovanni Costello claims his former friend, Jacob Knapp, owes for dental bills after being hit in the mouth with a beer can.
Okay, go. You're in the park, drunk. He's in the park, drunk.
Yes.
And?
To state I was not drunk because I was driving my witness here.
I want to tell you something. If you were drinking from 7 to 2, you were drunk.
I hadn't been drinking the whole time that I was there.
Let's go. Let's go.
Okay. So going into it, I was sitting at a park bench with Maureen here. And then I had another 2 friends that were on the other side, and we're hanging out. They had the 2 across from me got up. They went further into the park, and I was sitting with just her alone. And I was just about to show her a video off my phone. Next thing I know, I get hit in the face by a beer. After that occurs, I reach to my mouth to see something's wrong there, and I feel that like a part of my tooth is missing.
Okay, and that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's the assault that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And you allege that Mr. Knapp was the one who threw the beer bottle.
Yes.
Okay.
It was a full beer can.
A can.
Yeah, not bottle.
Did you report this incident to the police?
I did not take it to the police
Just
because...
a second, I'm just asking you.
Oh, sorry.
The answer is no.
No.
I disagree.
Disagree that he went to the police?
With his story.
Okay, I'll get there. Okay, so now you get hit in the face with a beer can, step by step. You look down, you look at your tooth.
Realize it's chipped. I say out loud, my tooth is chipped. She doesn't.
Don't tell me
believe it
not
at first.
about she. Just you.
Just me. I noticed it was chipped, and then after I announced that it was chipped, several of my friends, I guess, went towards him, and I don't know.
You didn't tell me anything about him. You didn't tell me. You just said you got hit in the face with a beer can.
Yeah.
That's all you said to me.
And he was the only other person that was standing right there, besides her sitting next to me.
So you didn't see him throw the beer can at you?
There was no one else there.
I'm just...
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I didn't see him throw it at me, but there was never a case of...
No, you didn't.
Of anything.
That's all.
Yeah.
You didn't see him throw it at you?
No.
Okay, go.
From the park, Your Honor?
Take it from the park.
So
now I got 2 drunks in the park, maybe 3.
there was actually more than just 3 of us surrounding the table.
Just a second.
Me and him.
Go slowly.
Okay, sorry.
Slower.
Let me take
I
it
don't
down a
know
notch.
table. I have no idea what you're talking about.
So, as he was saying, we were sitting at a park bench. I had brought the beer. The beer was next to me. He had asked me to toss him a beer. And that's plainly what I did was I underhanded him lightly a beer to him. And in his defense, he's saying he wasn't drunk, but it definitely was apparent that he was. When you
Anybody
lightly
who's been
toss a
drinking
beer,
from 7 to 2 in the morning is drunk.
yes, ma'am. So I lightly tossed him a beer, and unfortunately it was dark enough to where he had missed, and the beer had hit him in the face. In which after, immediately I started to apologize to him, stating that I didn't mean to, but it was apparent he was looking at me and did not catch the beer. So personally, I think everything he said to you right now was...
That's your story. You tossed him a beer because he asked you. He said, toss me a beer.
Yes, Your Honor.
And it was dark.
Yes.
And you were drunk. And he was drunk.
I wasn't drunk, Your Honor. I had 4 beers within the time of 10 o'clock till when this incident happened.
You know, I'm not real comfortable with that, sir.
Okay.
Because according to you, you had been drinking for 4 hours. And not only were you drinking for 4 hours, but you brought extra alcohol to have in the park. By the way,
Which was a closed container.
Where do you live? In what city?
In Pasadena, Your Honor.
In California. Are you allowed to drink alcohol in parks in California?
I'm not certain.
Well, let's find out. Open beer cans in city parks in California.
That's a no.
So after...
We're not talking yet.
I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Drinking alcoholic beverages is a prohibited activity in parks and park areas, according to the Pasadena City Park rules.
Thank you. This park that you went to, what's the name of it?
I'm not sure. It was up the street from the last bar we were at.
Okay. Now, did you, Mr. Costello, and the defendant, immediately after this event, did you communicate with him via text or email?
I texted him, I think it was roughly a couple of days later.
Okay. I'd like to see the text.
I have that.
That's all I want to see. Don't say anything else.
Okay.
Just show me the texts that you sent him a couple of days later.
There it is.
Giovanni hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
Okay. Thanks, Kevin. I'd like to see these texts from your phone, and I'd like to see all your text messages starting September 14th.
It's right here.
Of 2021.
Giovanni hands his phone to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
No, sir, you have to understand. What you said to me here, what you gave me, is 2 texts a year apart. I want to see the texts to him.
There was nothing.
After September 14th, you mean he didn't respond at all to this? I don't believe that.
My next thing that I did was I sent a letter through the mail, and I have that here, and I have proof of it where I had it so where he had to sign for it, and I have the receipt for it as well.
What date?
That one, I can pull it up right here.
I'm sorry, what letter? I never received a letter.
Just a second. So what you're telling me is that I'm supposed to believe that after you sent this email on September 14th, which is 3 days after the event, he never responded to you, and you never sent a follow-up email or text.
That was the letter. And in the letter I gave him...
Shh, just a second.
Okay.
Kevin hands a document to Judy.
Oh, here. Take this back. It's nonsense.
He returns it to Giovanni.
I don't want to see something prepared for litigation, sir. You said you had a document that you sent to him that he had to sign for. If you sent him a letter, return receipt requested, then you have a return receipt requested with a signature on it. That's a document that you prepared 2 days ago.
I have the receipt in here.
Let's get it.
Okay.
I never signed such document.
Just don't shout out again.
Yes, ma'am.
It's annoying, and I'm annoyed enough with this case.
I'm sorry for being so unorganized.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you're so unorganized, too, or disorganized.
Oh, here it is.
Great.
Certified mail.
Giovanni hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
They're stuck to the back one.
She reviews it.
This was sent April of 2022. I want to see what the response was. There had to be a response.
I never got a
since
response from
September
him.
14th, 2021. There had to be a response.
I never got a response from him.
Kevin, show this to Mr. Knapp and tell me if he recalls this text message.
Kevin brings a document to Jacob, who reviews it.
Your Honor, no, I do not remember getting this text.
Why would you respond a year later? I know from the past, dealing with Mr. Knapp here, He tends to always, being friends, whenever get into an altercation or argument, he unfollows me, blocks me on everything. Okay. So there's a possibility by that text message not going through.
I don't deal in possibilities, sir.
I sent the text message, and I have proof of there. It was delivered, and I never got a response from him.
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Sir, this incident happened September 11th. You have to understand, I think that if that's what happened. I tend to believe that the defendant did not just willy-nilly take a can and fling it at your face. I want you to know that I don't believe that.
Caption coming up.
You were stupid enough to throw the beer can in his direction. You're two drunks, that's what happens. So don't get so drunk and go to a park. How old are you?
27.
27 is on you?
28, Your Honor.
28. You know, old enough not to be so stupid.
Giovanni nods. The courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Giovanni and Jacob.
Giovanni Castillo has accused his former friend, Jacob Knapp, of hitting him with a beer can. Jacob says Giovanni asked him to throw it.
Okay, it is more likely than not that you were sitting with this lady who, according to you, you were supposed to drive home. Mm-hmm. That's what you said 5 minutes ago. So you were supposed to drive home, which means she was trashed, because that's what you said. You said, I wasn't...
This was the arrangements from the very beginning of the night.
Okay. Do you understand? So we had a whole bunch of trashed people. And I am more likely to believe the defendant when he says you said to him, toss me a beer, and it accidentally hit you in the face.
My questioning is that the...
I don't answer questions.
Okay, well, where the beer was placed on the table, I don't understand why I would have to ask him to toss me a beer when I can simply reach over and grab one myself.
I don't know either. But no it sounds more likely to me than not that it was his beer, he brought it there, and you said to him, toss me a beer, and you failed to catch it. Now, that doesn't mean that the defendant isn't at least partially responsible for the stupidity of that night. But you have some responsibility, too, because I really don't believe that he left the bar. He was angry and frustrated over something that you had no idea what he was angry and frustrated over, because you were all sitting together, and he just, out of the blue, took a beer and threw it at your face. I don't believe that. Do you understand?
If I could show you a picture here, you could see that if he just simply tossed me a beer, I don't understand how a beer can could chip my tooth the way that it did.
Just a second. Mm-hmm. It can. It can.
Okay.
I can eat a biscotti and it can chip my tooth. Biscotti, that's a cookie, a very hard cookie. And have. Mm-hmm. And have. I mean, I could chip my tooth on my grandmother's steak, it was so hard. But certainly from a beer can. So I don't believe that you're blameless. What was your dental bill, sir?
I have the statements here.
While he's looking for that, you understand that if you were sitting there and instead of a bunch of beer cans and the plaintiff said to you, you know, that gun that's in your pocket, toss it over to me, I want to take a look at it. And you did. You took a gun out of your pocket and you tossed it over to him, and as you were tossing it over, it accidentally fired. Would it be his fault if he got shot?
No.
No. Whose fault would it be?
Mine.
Right. Because you weren't supposed to do that. Right. Because it was potentially dangerous.
Of course.
Well, same thing with a knife or an explosive device.
Right.
Or something very hot, like toss me a cup of coffee in a container and it splatters. So you don't do what anybody asks you to do if it's not a smart thing to do.
Right.
Unless you're drunk. Unless you're drunk.
Your Honor,
then,
if I may.
Yeah.
Coming from a baseball background, such as me and Gio did.
I don't care about your baseball background. There's no question, sir, that you acknowledge you threw it at him. And I'm telling you that if your excuse is that he asked me to do it, so I followed the fool's directions. I'm telling you, he's going to pay part of his dental bill, because I think it was partially his responsibility. But if you acknowledge that you were stupid enough to throw the beer can in his direction, you have to be partially liable. You're two drunks, that's what happens. So don't get so drunk and go to a park. How old are you?
27.
27 is on you?
28, Your Honor.
28. You know, old enough not to be so stupid. You know, you can figure 17, 18-year-olds are so stupid. At age 28, you should be doing something constructive. I assume you work?
Yes.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a chef.
And you?
I'm a lumberman, Your Honor.
Okay, so you're both gainfully employed, letting off a little steam. That's fine. But if there's a problem that develops because anybody is not operating on all cylinders because of alcohol, you have to take responsibility. What was the dental bill?
My dental bill came out to $2,342.
Can I see that, please, Kevin?
I have this here. I'll give you both.
Giovanni hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Was any of this dental bill covered by insurance?
On the dental, no.
Okay. Anything else?
My wholeheartedly truth is I didn't ask him for a beer. I had no problems. I was avoiding him the whole night for the most part because from the past, Jacob has had a way worse drinking problem than I've ever gotten to. I went out that night solely to have a couple drinks, hang out with friends. The night went longer than expected.
Very nice. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,171, which is half of your dental bill. You pay half. Don't get drunk. You're too old to get drunk. I don't believe that he maliciously threw this at you. I think that you asked for a beer, tossed it at you, and you missed. That was his stupidity and yours. We're done here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This court is adjourned.
All I did was I underhand lightly tossed it over to him, and that's really what happened.
I did nothing wrong to deserve to get a beer thrown in my face like a baseball.
Unfortunately, he chipped his tooth, and so it was unfortunate.
I said, hey, Jacob, look, you chipped my tooth. Look what you just did.
No more drinking in the parks, guys.
Not to do it again.
Sarah.
I think this situation is the exact reason cities like Pasadena have rules about drinking alcohol in parks, because like you always say, it's not an on purpose, it's an accident. But a lot of times there are certain things that can increase the probability of an accident happening.
True.
And I think drinking at 2 a.m. in a park probably is one of those things.
That's true. So so many times rules and regulations don't seem to have any substance of reason behind it. But this certainly is an example of why when the bar closes at 2 o'clock, you're supposed to go home.
Title, Judy Justice.
Want justice? Go to Judy Justice. Is suing club promoter Herman Patine for a refund on concert tickets.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Hello, Judge. Case 2184, Garcia versus Pantene.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Ms. Garcia, it is your claim that you purchased some concert tickets through the defendant. You paid him for them.
Correct.
And you didn't get them.
Correct.
He has some story about you going on the wrong day. Okay. How do you know him?
Through a mutual friend.
How long do you know him?
Since September, when this mutual friend actually introduced us, and we engage in this kind of concert ticket purchase.
No, you're getting ahead of yourself. You met him through a mutual friend. How?
We went out to a club.
Who went out to a club?
Two of my girlfriends and LP.
Went with him?
Yes.
Well, then one of your girlfriends knew him. You had not met him before?
No.
Is that correct?
Yes, it is correct.
And what do you do for a living?
I'm an artist.
What kind of an artist?
Produce and sing.
You do that for a living for how long?
For 12 years.
You have family?
No, I'm by myself, yeah.
Who do you live with?
By myself and my dog.
Yourself and your dog?
Yeah, my dog, yeah.
What kind of a dog do you
have? I have a Jack Russell.
Okay. What do you know about securing tickets for concerts, music events? What do you know about it?
What do you mean by that? I don't understand the question.
Well, I know that if you're in the music business, let's say you want to go to a concert.
Okay.
You personally want to go to a concert with a friend.
Yeah.
How do you get the tickets?
It depends. You either purchase the ticket online if you want to pay the full price, or sometimes people have deal for ticket because they have in, and you get the ticket like that, and it's cheaper.
Okay. Now, I want you to tell me, Ms. Garcia, exactly how you contacted the defendant and told him that you wanted concert tickets and what you wanted concert tickets to.
So I text LP and I asked him, hey, I heard that you had concert tickets. And he said he did. He's like, oh, I have 2 concert tickets.
2 concert tickets for what?
For the Bad Bunny concert for October 1st.
When I read your complaint and answer, I didn't know who Bad Bunny was. So I looked it up and was actually astounded to find out that he is a very uber popular rapper.
So we were very, very excited.
Okay. Did you tell the defendant what you wanted the tickets for?
Yes, I told him I was going to celebrate my birthday, and it was also going to be a gift to my sister, and then my girlfriend, whose birthday is in October.
And
so
when is your birthday?
October 8th.
And did you tell him what date you wanted the tickets for?
He indicated that he had tickets for October 1st.
And he had 2 tickets for October 1st.
He at first had 2 tickets, and then later on said, oh, I have more tickets. And that's how I acquired 2 additional tickets.
Okay, so first you said he had 2 tickets for October 1st. Now, when she called you, you said, oh, I have 2 tickets. That's what she says. Okay. I have 2 tickets. Where did you get those 2 tickets from?
From someone who's close to the artist.
Give me the name.
Oh, his name is Clint.
Last name?
I don't know. I only see him in the club. I get tickets from him all the time.
Clint from what club?
He promotes everywhere. Like he goes.
No, you said to me you got them from him at a club. I'm asking you what club?
Well,
Your Honor,
the name.
Actually, he had indicated that those were boxy tickets, and it was the owner of the boxy tickets that he was acquiring those tickets from.
I never said that.
The 2 tickets?
Oh, no,
yes.
I never said
the
that.
2?
Yes.
I never said that. No.
I want you to tell me, when she called you, how come you had 2 tickets for the concert that she wanted to go to? Were you going to go yourself?
The truth is, I always go to stuff like that because I have access to those tickets. Again, even if it's for sport or basketball, I always have access to those type of tickets.
So you have access to them?
Yes.
But she said that you told her you had 2 tickets.
When I say access, if I request it, I know where to find it. So when her friend told me that, I said, yes, I can have access to those type of tickets. So maybe my language doesn't help with my grammar.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, so
that's
yes,
true. Maybe,
sorry for that.
Maybe it's problematic. It could be a little bit of my hearing, but it's also a little bit of your accent.
Yes, I have an accent.
Sometimes people don't understand my accent because I was born in Brooklyn. And they say to me, what, we don't understand you. I understand that, but you understand that sometimes people could not...
If they misunderstand.
Right.
That's true.
Okay. But she told you she wanted the tickets for October 1st. There's no question she wanted to go on October 1st because she says in her complaint that she also booked a hotel room. What hotel?
It was the Sheraton.
Where is the Sheraton located?
It's by LAX.
Where do you live?
Norwalk.
Norwalk is where?
Approximately 15 miles east of LAX off the 105.
Okay, so you wanted to stay over for the concert?
Yes. So just one correction, that my cousin was the one that paid for the stay.
And the hotel was taken for one night, and was that the night of October 1st?
Yes.
For October 1st, the night of the concert.
So all the girls were going to get together that night, have a little pre-celebration. We were going to Uber to the concert. We didn't want to drink and drive. So when we got to the concert, we would get another Uber and then come back. We just wanted to be safe.
When did Mr. Patin tell you that he got extra tickets? First, he said he had 2. And did he tell you how much the 2 tickets were?
Yes, he indicated $150 each ticket.
How much did you pay for them, sir?
Basically, give the...
Not basically.
Huh?
Not basically.
Sorry,
how much? There's this question.
It was $150.
So you are telling me that you didn't make any money?
No, because I was friend with her friend. So I was just trying to be nice for her birthday. So no, I wasn't making any money on that. I will charge more for those tickets if I want to make money. For the price of it, I will pay way more than that.
Well, so far. Then you got 4 more tickets.
Correct.
But you never saw the tickets.
Correct.
Okay.
Caption coming up.
They were in LA partying with us on the 2nd. We all drank, we partied, we went to a club. He felt bad for him and got a bottle service, and I have on video.
No, he didn't.
Just
he
a
got
second.
bottle
Just a
service,
second.
But
I
it
have
wasn't
on video.
from him.
I have on video.
I have on video.
Yeah, but that wasn't part of the deal.
Don't speak.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Gigi and Herman.
Gigi Garcia claims club promoter Herman Patin owes her a refund for Bad Bunny concert tickets.
Did you ask the defendant to send you a copy of the tickets?
I did on September
Just a sec.
16th.
On what date?
September 16th.
Do you have an email to that effect?
Yes.
I'd like to take a look at it.
And just so you know, there were 2 tour dates in Inglewood at the SoFi Stadium for Bad Bunny on both September 30th as well as October 1st.
Do you know how much he made, according to what I read yesterday? In his touring for the whole of the year, I read that his tour concert in 2022 was almost $400 million. Is that about right?
Yeah, it's the number one.
Almost
It's the number
$400
one now.
million.
Pretty darn close.
That's what I read. I was astounded. Since I know Frank Sinatra is no longer with us and there isn't anybody else that I would pay that kind of money to go and see.
Whitney smiles. Judy examines a photocopy of a text exchange between Gigi and Herman.
Okay, so you're in the music business and you have email?
Huh?
Is that right? You have an email? You have an email?
Yes, I have an
You
email.
have an iPhone?
Yes.
She asked you if you could send her copies of the tickets.
Okay.
Why didn't you send them?
Because I didn't have it at that time. I always
Oh,
received
just a
it.
second.
Yes.
Because I didn't have them. That was September 16th. On what date did you get them and from whom?
I paid for the ticket on the Monday before the concert. The guy came to pick up the money on Monday night.
When the guy came to pick up the money Monday night before the event, did he give you the tickets?
Not right away, because he never do that. He always send me that after to my wallet on the...
Now I don't understand a word you're saying.
The wallet, when I received the ticket...
You
after
gave
that,
him the money. She sent you the money. How much money did she give you?
I was like 1,000.
Seven. How much money did you give him?
So the full amount was $1,215.
That's not
but
how
the
much
other,
she gave me, by the way.
no.
Just
yeah.
a minute. She's
well,
only suing for $715.
Yeah, so there were two other young ladies that also purchased, and I'm not including them in my case.
So this
just
is
mine, just what I paid.
You paid $715.
Correct.
He got more money for the tickets, but you just paid him $715.
Yeah. So these were for 6 tickets. 5 tickets for $150, 1 ticket for $165.
Okay. How did you communicate with the one person who you gave the tickets to? How did you communicate with that
Through
person?
phone. I call him.
Through the phone?
Yeah, I call
Your
him. He call
phone.
me.
So you have his name on your phone?
Yes.
Have you seen him since October?
He disappeared for a while. After that.
Just a second. He disappeared for a while after you say that you gave him the money.
I was in contact with them and her friend. I gave her the number because I couldn't reach out to him. And
second, that sounds like a lot of who shot John. You were able to reach out to him when you wanted to give him money, allegedly, but then he disappeared.
Basically,
just a second, is he still disappeared?
No, he's still not disappeared. But
well, where is he now?
I don't know. I haven't spoken with him.
Since when?
Since maybe like December.
Why?
Because I have nothing to tell him. She sued me. So
well, just a second.
Yeah.
What did you tell him about the tickets?
He said we made a mistake on the day. It was for Friday, and they went to for Saturday. So on that, he got mixed up, and I get blamed for that. That's not fair.
Absolutely. She didn't deal with Clint. She dealt with you.
But this is why I give them the number, so they can call him directly. I did that.
But the deal was not with him. It was with you.
You don't have to answer.
Sorry.
But
you don't have to answer.
Actually, they talked to him directly.
She doesn't want to talk to him directly. She didn't deal with...
I wasn't even talking to her.
She didn't deal...
I wasn't talking to her. Her friend was talking to him directly. That's what I said.
Did she get money back from him directly?
I didn't get any money.
Just a second.
No, I'm mad. I'll be blamed for something I do. And even that, I give some half of the money back to her because I feel bad about the situation.
Just a second. When did you give her back half the money?
I think 2 weeks after.
Just a second. Did he give you back any money?
He gave us $500 out of 8.
Just a second. I don't care. He gave you back $500 because he felt badly.
And it was her birthday, and they were harassing me.
Did you give her the $500 directly?
No, because I wasn't.
No. Who did you give the $500?
To her friend, because I wasn't talking to her.
To a friend?
To her friend, because I wasn't talking to her.
Just a second. Your friend only, you said, paid for 2 tickets. Mm-hmm. Well, 2 tickets at most could have been $300.
Correct.
Did your friend give you back $200?
She did.
Okay.
So I am requesting the remainder, which is $715. And that's what we had texted him on October 10th. We had asked him to pay the full amount. This is the text where...
I want to see what he said to you.
No, he did not respond to me.
He did not?
Mm-mm.
Can I tell why?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because her friend was starting threatening me, sending crazy message texts when we used to be friends, and it could be resolved another way. And when you start sending me lawyer crazy email, I'm not answering. So I say, do what you got to do, and that's it.
I mean, if you would have responded.
Just a second. So if there was a mix-up, that was a mix-up that was not her mix-up because she clearly made it her business to book a room in order to go to the October 1st concert. So that was clear. It wasn't just going to the concert. It was going to be a whole evening. What do you want, and who are you?
I'm a witness to it all.
And he speaks better than me, so this is why I would like him to come, so that it might be easier for me.
Your Honor, my name's Imad. How are you? She said she booked a hotel for the 1st, but they were in LA partying with us on the 2nd because we all met up at his house. We all drank, we partied, we went to a club. He felt bad for him and got a bottle service, and I have
No, you
on
didn't.
video.
No, he didn't.
Just
He
a
got
second.
bottles
Just a
service,
second.
but it
I have on
wasn't from
video.
him.
I have on
I
video.
have on video because that's what we
We
do.
feel bad.
Yeah, but that wasn't part of the deal.
Don't speak.
Sorry.
We have on video of them all partying with us on the 2nd. So it's, they only.
So on the 2nd, by this time you knew you weren't going to the concert.
Yeah, I was
He says
expecting
it
my
was-
money that night.
What?
I was expecting my money. Like, there was a mix-up. Okay, now where's our money? So we met up. They told me, hey, you know what? LP feels really bad. There was a mistake. I'm like, okay, cool. But where's my money? Because I got to pay my cousin, my sister. I got to pay my friends. I have that responsibility. They entrusted me with money, and therefore I had that responsibility. They're not going to come after him.
Okay.
Caption coming up.
The tickets were for Friday night, sir. And you say you went there on Friday night.
No, you get it confused on that. I wasn't going to the concert.
No, to give them the tickets. How are they supposed to
But
get
I mean,
the tickets?
how do I know that? You have to. I have other stuff to do.
Just a second. Stop. I'm going to use him as a translator.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Gigi and Herman.
Gigi Garcia is accusing club promoter Herman Petit of purchasing Bad Bunny concert tickets for the wrong day.
Where is Clint? Speak. Where is Clint? I thought you were a witness to everything.
I met him when he was giving him the money. We were at his house
Just a
having
second.
drinks.
Okay, so let's slow down a second, because you said I'm a witness to everything and I speak better than he does.
Yeah, sometimes.
So the Monday before the concert,
Correct.
you were with Clint.
I was with LP. I was with him. We were at his apartment watching Monday
And
Night
Clint
Football.
was there.
No, he called him, and then he asked me to come down with him. We went downstairs, and I never met the guy, and he gave him some money.
No, just a second.
Yeah.
So you were with him.
Yeah.
When he went downstairs and met Clint.
Correct.
Okay. And when he handed Clint the money, how much money did he hand him?
I couldn't tell you because I wasn't
that
really,
close.
I was next to him, but I was on my phone, and I asked him after the fact. I was like,
What did he... Let's go back. So now you're upstairs watching Monday Night Football.
yeah.
And does he get a call from Clint, or does he call Clint?
He was calling him earlier.
Okay, so he was calling Clint earlier.
Yeah.
And when he went down and gave him the money, did Clint give him anything?
No, he didn't.
Well, then what was the discussion that he had?
From what I heard was he...
Don't make it up as you're going along.
No.
Don't
He
make
was
it up.
giving
It's
him the
very
money,
bad.
and-
It's very bad if you make things up.
No. There's no
Okay,
making
so
up.
if you
He
either
gave
you
him the
heard it
money.
or you didn't.
He gave him the money, and I guess it was for the tickets because he was telling me earlier that he was getting somebody's tickets. And I'm like, I've never met her before or her friends until the night of when we all went to the club because I was at his house. Yeah. We were drinking. Her friends came over and everything that was supposed to.
And it was at that time. Was that the time that he gave them back $500?
No, I don't know about that.
When did you give them back 500?
I think 2 weeks after. I can check if you want to tell the exact date. But I think 2 weeks after. And again, I did that out of my kindness. I don't want to give anything because that's not my fault. But I'm like, I feel bad. They were on me. I'm like, you know what? Here's something. He's a jester. That's what I can do. And even that, I was even willing to work with them. And I told her friends.
I don't think it was their mistake, by the way.
Huh?
I don't think it was their mistake. They were girls going out to celebrate. They'd planned a whole evening and day of going out to celebrate. They got to the concert. You weren't there on the first, because it's your claim that they got the date confused, that they were supposed to go Friday night, the 30th. That's what you say. You were there Friday night.
We're there.
Well, if the tickets were for Friday night, sir, which is what you claim, and you say you went there on Friday night.
Went where?
To the concert, to give them the tickets.
No, you get it confused on that. I wasn't going to the concert.
No, to give them the tickets. How are they supposed to get
I mean,
the tickets?
how do I know that? I have other stuff to do.
Just a second. How are they supposed to... Hey, stop. I'm going to use him as a translator.
Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
No. You hadn't sent them the tickets on the day of the concert. According to your answer, sir, on the day of the concert, which was on September 30th, which would have been what was on the tickets, I waited for Gigi and her friends, but they never showed up. Pay attention to me. So if you went there on Friday to give them the tickets, that's what you say.
I'm talking about my house. Sure, how?
I'm reading to you what you swore to and what you signed in an answer. You say you're in a business for 12 years.
But I don't have people work for me.
Listen to me. Listen to me. Then you should have shown them your answer. What you said in your answer was...
Okay, my bad. Mistake
not my bad. On the day of the concert, I waited for Gigi and her friends to come and get their tickets, but they never showed up. The next day, I finally got on the phone with Gigi. Now, did she call you or did you call her?
I called her friend in the morning at like maybe 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. There's a mistake. I called her friend.
Okay, so you called her friend. Now, if you got there and they weren't there, you had her friend's, you had her friend's number, right?
It's not that.
You said I have...
That's not what I'm saying.
What I'm saying is I just read you what you wrote.
No, but I try to explain you. I wasn't at the concert visit, even on the Saturday, for the ticket.
How was she supposed to get the ticket?
She come to my house, and that's it.
Okay, $715, judgment for the plaintiff. I think you're full of baloney.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Gigi, then Herman.
I thought that was really fair. I mean, when you enter a verbal contract with someone, you expect them to uphold their side of the deal. If they don't, then they have to give you your money back.
That's her problem, not mine. And I give something just out of my kindness. She should just take that. Asia wasn't the bad person on that.
That same night, he had indicated that he felt really bad, yada, yada, yada. And we thought, hey, it's legit. We're going to get our money back that night. And he's like, oh, let's meet up at this club or at this, it was a restaurant, then club. And it was...
I went up partying with somebody that just screwed me out of tickets.
Exactly.
Doesn't make sense. It's like if somebody screws you out of money, you gonna go party with them? Highly doubtful.
It doesn't matter. That wasn't part of the deal. The deal was concert tickets for this amount of money. No concert tickets, I get my money back. Plain and simple.
Yes, over. For a favor for friends, yeah.
Judy and Sarah.
So we're having this discussion, you and I interpreted that sentence as he waited for them at the concert to give him the tickets. You point out that that sentence could also be interpreted, I waited at my house for them to come and pick up the tickets. Either way, Sarah, the right thing to do is if you've got $1,000 of somebody's money, because there's no question that this guy took a vig for himself, and if they don't come, and if your friend is a friend of hers, then you call at 5 o'clock at night and say, you know, I have your tickets here. Yeah. Where are you? He doesn't. The next day, he calls his friend and says, you got the dates mixed up. Yeah. Instead of calling at 4 o'clock. So either way, to me, it doesn't make any difference.
I agree with your final ruling. If he was sitting on the $1,000 that he had and tickets that he knew were for the wrong day, the friend deserved to call that day in the morning.
Or maybe he didn't have any.
Or maybe he didn't have any tickets. I'm not disagreeing. I just think that one point you hung your hat on about either being at the concert or being at home was sort of a minuscule point if he didn't have the tickets at all.
Yeah, and I don't think he had the tickets at all.
I agree.
If he did have the tickets, one way or another, he would have called their mutual friend and said, you know, I have these tickets here. They're $1,000. They're $1,000 worth of tickets. It's a good excuse to say they wanted to come for them on a wrong date. Yeah, hustle.
Title, Judy Justice.
Are you a victim of a scam? Go to judyjustice.tv. Boyfriend, Joshua Caldwell, for the costs of a French bulldog.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches Judge Judy.
Hello, Judge. Case 2120, Jones versus Caldwell.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Judy turns to Jasmine.
Miss Jones, you and the defendant were in a romantic relationship that started about a year ago, more than a year ago. And then you decided to do one of the most foolish things that people do when they sort of fall in love, sometimes temporarily. You decided to buy a dog together. According to you, the relationship went south, and now we have this adorable dog that you want back. You say the dog is really yours. You were the one who was its primary caretaker. You paid for a vet bill. Mr. Caldwell said that's not the case. The dog was always supposed to be his. He purchased it. And it's your argument that if Mr. Caldwell is allowed to keep the dog, that you be reimbursed for the vet bills that you paid.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you and Mr. Caldwell live together?
Yes.
From when to when?
From February 1st of this year to September 3rd.
And in what month did you decide to get the dog's name is Scrappy?
Yes.
Scrappy.
We got Scrappy on January 18th.
So before you moved in together?
Yes.
Where were you living?
I was going back and forth from my mom's house to Joshua's. I already had a key in January. I was staying there.
Okay, but you were living with your mother.
Yes.
In January.
Yes.
And who was the breeder of this dog? Did you buy the dog from the breeder or from?
From the breeder, Andrew.
Now, Andrew was sitting over there on the defendant's side, so I assume that Andrew was a friend of your boyfriend's.
Yes.
Stand up, Andrew.
Frederick holds Scrappy.
I have a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
That's Scrappy.
Yes.
Scrappy is about 8 months old?
He just hit a year about 2-3 weeks ago.
Oh, so still a puppy.
Yes.
Looks very healthy. When Scrappy was purchased, was the amount paid for him the same as was paid for the other dogs in Scrappy's litter?
No.
How many puppies were in the litter?
5.
Did you charge Mr. Caldwell or Miss Jones for Scrappy?
Mr. Caldwell.
How much did you charge him?
$3,000, Your Honor.
Who paid you?
Joshua.
Mr. Caldwell, did he pay by check or cash?
Cash and Zelle payments.
Did you ever see Miss Jones in the purchasing process?
Yes, I seen her.
Tell me about it.
At the time when they came to pick up the dog, she was his girlfriend, but there was no connection with me.
Was that the first time you had met her?
I've seen her around because we would work at the gym together. We're both personal trainers, so I would see her around the gym sometimes.
Had you discussed with your friend Joshua?
Yes.
While you were working with him in your personal training at the gym, had you discussed with him getting a dog?
Yes.
When?
I can't recall the exact date, but I know that he had seen that I had bought my dog and that I was getting into the business. So he contacted me early in, say, 2020, stating that, hey, I want to eventually, when you have a litter, get one of your dogs from you.
Do you remember what month that was in?
I'd say, well, Scrap was born October 2021. So around then, maybe a couple months before, when I let him know that the female was pregnant. So maybe around July, August.
Okay, of 2021.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so that was well before the two of you lived together.
Yes.
Did you ever hear from Miss Jones? Did she ever call you before you saw her when they both came to pick up Scrappy?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, you can sit down now. Cute. Miss Jones, who paid for Scrappy?
Me and Joshua.
Show me.
Jasmine produces a document.
I have here Zelle and Venmo payments to Joshua. The first one is in February, and then he didn't start asking me for large amounts.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on.
Judy reviews it.
These don't look like anything like payments for the dog. What are those payments? $100, $500, $350 in June? What were those for?
They were all payments towards Scrappy. He started asking me for $200, $350 at that time.
You mean after you already had the dog?
Yeah.
Because you got the dog.
Yeah, but he didn't pay for him straight up. And his friend told us that we could pay for him at will. He didn't give him money the first day that we picked him up.
Okay, I'll go back to you. How much money did Mr. Caldwell pay on the day he picked up the dog?
$0.
When was the first time he made a payment? Now you could stand up again.
Frederick rises.
He made a payment shortly after, within the first month, of about $300.
So in January, he made first payment.
Of $300.
And in January, there is no Zelle payment from you at all. When was the next payment? Do you recall?
I believe in March he paid another $200.
Well, do you have records of what you paid, sir?
Yes.
I'd like to see them. I just want to see what you paid and when you paid it. By the way, while he's looking for that, when you lived with Mr. Caldwell, did you both contribute to the rent?
My contribution to the rent was paying for the groceries, so I have all my receipts.
So the answer is you did not pay rent.
That was our deal.
But the answer is you did not pay rent.
No, ma'am.
Did you pay any utilities?
Only when he asked me for extra money to pay his phone bill or to pay for the Wi-Fi sometimes.
And when you paid for these extra things, Wi-Fi or his phone bill, did you pay by cash or did you pay by?
The extra charges in there that I didn't highlight. The ones that are $20, $30, those are for gas. The $70 one is for his card.
Well, I just want to know how you know the payment in July for $200, what it was for.
I was only giving him money at that time. For Scrappy, he started asking me for large amounts of money for him. So that's when I gave him those. He didn't ask me for anything towards bills for that apartment.
Is Scrappy totally paid for?
No.
How much is owed?
$2,300.
So the only amount that was paid so far was $700.
Yes, Your Honor.
Caption, coming up.
This is what happens, because relationships come and go. 50% of the marriages in this country fail. So why would you think a relationship is going to last as long as a French bulldog?
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Jasmine, Joshua, and Frederick.
Jasmine Jones claims her ex-boyfriend, Joshua Caldwell, owes for the costs of a French bulldog. Joshua is countersuing for vandalism and an assault.
Okay, and this is an agreement that I, Joshua Caldwell, have agreed to buy Kashmir.
That was his name originally.
From Frederick Wright. Once the dog is paid in full, I will receive full ownership rights. Frederick Wright will remain the rightful owner of Kashmir until I complete $3,000 in payments, right?
Correct.
And both of you signed this, and this was in January of 2022. That's a reasonable... What are you laughing at?
I'm not laughing. I'm just like, when did he even sign that? Because I was with him the day that we picked him up, and he never showed me any contract.
Well, but this is reasonable, because he's not transferring any rights to him. He's going to remain the owner. He's the owner of the dog until the full amount is paid for the dog of $3,000. Right now, he said that the only thing was paid was $700. Go ahead. Now I'll hear you. Now I got it. Now you can sit down.
When I was present for us picking up Scrappy and purchasing him, it was word of mouth contract. There was no paper signing at all. He didn't even show me a paper.
And?
And he showed me him. He asked me if I liked him. I said yes. And he said he would go half on him with me.
Okay.
And I said, okay. And it was that same day. I get off of work, he picks me up, we go see Scrappy. Didn't know we were gonna get him that day. We ended up getting him that day. He tells me, okay, it's just gonna be $3,500. They walk to the back of the room and start talking and making an agreement. Come back out.
So just a second. So they went in the back of the room. You were not there. That's what you just told me. They went in the back to make an agreement, and then they came out. That's what...
Whitney.
He tells me it's going to be $3,500. They walk to the back of the room, make an agreement.
Right. Go ahead.
And then he comes back and we take Scrappy home. The next day, he texts me early in the morning and tells me that Scrappy might have gotten a bee sting or something because he was limping and he doesn't know what happened. I picked him up from his job that afternoon after I got off of work.
Okay, so you picked up the dog from his work.
Yes, picked him up and I went straight to my mom's house to get clothes because I was going back to his house. And I was examining Scrappy, no swollen paw, no bee sting. Then he said that he probably clipped his nail on the tile, and I'm just like looking at his paw, and I'm like, there's nothing wrong with it, but he's limping. Those were his stories. Still don't know what happened. Scrappy wasn't showing any signs of like pain, he was just limping. So I was like, we need to take him to the vet, like he needs to get checked out.
So you took him to the vet? Okay,
yes.
And?
The vet ended up telling us that he had a fracture.
You can't tell me what the vet told you. I'll look at the records from the vet.
Okay, sorry. I have the vet bills and the reports right here.
Jasmine hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Did you pay any part of these vet bills, sir?
Yes.
Which parts?
I didn't have any record of it because I didn't see it coming. I honestly didn't know what happened to his elbow. Andrew was there as well. We were both kind of like, we don't know. So I found out after going to the vet that Frenchies have a ligament in their elbow, and this happens often.
No one is suggesting that anyone abused the dog.
Okay. Oh,
That's not the suggestion. My question was a simple one. Did you pay any of these vet bills? They're about $1,600.
Yes. I just don't
How much
have
did you
any
pay?
record of it.
What?
'cause
He's lying.
I didn't ask you to interrupt. You have to understand, Miss Jones, you can't have this dog. First of all, this dog doesn't belong to either one of you. This dog belongs to him until the dog is paid for. So far, all he's gotten for the dog is $700. $500 of that he paid for. But right now, I can't award ownership of the dog, but there's a contract that until this dog is paid for, the dog belongs to Mr. Wright. First name?
Frederick.
Frederick. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Simple. So you have a friend who has Frenchies, then I suggest that you go with your original plan, which is to buy a dog yourself.
Not
Now,
the same.
you have no proof that you paid any of these vet bills.
I just have the medicine with my name on it.
Well, the medicine with your name on it doesn't help. $1,600 in vet bills. And you have physical custody of the dog now, right?
Right.
And your agreement with Mr. Wright is that you don't get ownership of that dog until the dog is paid for. Yeah, I mean, I can't enforce your contract with regard to Miss Jones. The dog was not paid for.
I've already offered to pay him for the remainder of whatever Josh hasn't paid him.
The contract is with Mr. Caldwell, not you. So that's what happened when foolish young people decide to own a dog together. And they're not married, they don't even live together. This is what happens, because the relationships come and go. You know, 50% of the marriages in this country fail. So why would you think a relationship is going to last as long as a French bulldog? It's sort of ridiculous, and I've advised against it for the last 25 years. Nobody wants to heed this. So I'm faced with a situation where, when did the two of you break up?
I left on September 3rd.
Well, now we're a couple of months, but...
She didn't leave. She had to be... well, this is going to go into the assault charge.
I don't.
But
Listen,
she had
I don't
to be
care.
escorted
I don't
out.
care. Whatever.
I
don't care. You want
clothes.
I'll get to the counterclaim in a second. I will give it the same attention as I've given her claim for the dog. She's not getting the dog back. You have to, however, pay her the $1,600 that she paid for the vet. Do you understand? So that part of your petition is granted. Was the bill all paid?
I'm still paying it off currently. We both agreed to apply for care credit together, and whoever...
But it's your bill that you have to pay. If you work in accounting, you have a check, you don't want that garnished, so you have to pay it.
I am paying it.
You have to pay it. Okay. And he's going to reimburse you for that, $1,600. All right, now let's get to this counterclaim and make short shrift of it. Money owed for assault and vandalizing personal belongings. Let's start with the assault. Allegedly, the assault took place when the plaintiff came home intoxicated.
I'm a kickboxer. On September 3rd, she came to my fight, and she dropped me off at home.
That's a lie.
If you say it again, what I'm going to do, if you interrupt Miss Jones, again, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dismiss your claim, and you'll pay for these vet bills yourself. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Go ahead.
She didn't like the people that was at my fight there, and so she had a couple drinks. She got to my house, and she started to fight with me, and I tried to remove myself from the fight, and then she started getting violent. So then I called her family to come pick her up, and they showed up maybe an hour later. In that hour, I tried to remove myself to another room. She went and got scissors and started to cut my shoes up. Then I had to try to grab my shoes and scrap and go into the opposite room, and she came in there and was trying to fight me. All the while all this happening, I'm recording her on video to make sure that I'm...
You have that recording?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
Caption, coming up.
This would be me asking her just to leave. This whole thing is out of retaliation. What are you about to do? Why are you hitting me in the face?
Record me? Because I want my dog?
Fighting me. She won't stop fighting me. I've asked her to leave.
Explain that to me.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Jasmine and Joshua.
Jasmine Jones is accusing her ex-boyfriend, Joshua Caldwell, of owing vet bills for a French bulldog. Joshua is countersuing, claiming Jasmine assaulted him.
Okay. You have that recording?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
This would be me asking her just to leave. This whole thing is out of retaliation. Why are you hitting me in the face?
Record me? Because I want my dog?
Fighting me. She won't stop fighting me. I've asked her to leave. Your stuff is in bags.
You're such a... Josh.
Okay. There you go again. There you go again. On camera hitting me.
Jasmine lunges at the camera.
On camera. You see her hitting me? There you go.
Explain that to me.
I wasn't dropping him off. We were still...
I don't care what you're dropping off. Explain that video to me.
I was pushing the phone out of my face because he had me on live and was saying my full name. He cut off parts of it.
No, I just want to know what happened here. This was clearly you were going after him. I don't know whether you...
knocking the phone out of his hand because he was saying my full name, saying I was crazy. I had already packed my stuff. I was leaving. We walk in the house. He calls me a dumb bee and then goes straight to the bathroom. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna leave. Like, I'm not gonna deal with this. I had Scrappy by my side. I was packing what I could, taking it downstairs. I walk back up. He goes, oh, you're leaving? And he snatches Scrappy and locks him in the bedroom. And then when he goes to open the door is when I barge in. I'm just like, give me my dog so I can leave. And
well, I want to know what the violent stuff was about.
He was recording me. He was recording my name.
He was recording you.
Saying I was crazy and I wouldn't get out of the house. And I was like, stop recording me. And I was just hitting the phone out of his hand. I never once put my hands on him. He's already hit me and choked me in the past, so I would not go there to provoke him to hurt me again.
Did you ever report to anyone that he hurt you?
I told my mom.
Did you ever report?
No, I didn't.
Mr. Caldwell, were you injured?
I mean, I'm a fighter. I'm not going to...
Were you injured is my question.
No.
Her family came?
Yeah.
The police were not called. You called her family instead. Did you pick her up? Stand up, please. You're a mother?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And this incident happened on what date when he called you?
It was about 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
On
Shh. Don't interrupt. On what date?
Labor Day.
Did you go to Mr. Caldwell's home?
Yes, I did.
What time did you get there?
Probably almost 4.
Had Mr. Caldwell ever called you before with regard to picking up your daughter, or that she was... No.
No.
So this was a first?
Yes.
Now, when you got there, I want you to describe what you saw.
She was crying, she was upset, and I told her, come on, let's just go. And she said, no, I want to get my dog. I can't leave my dog here. He's been violent in the past. I've seen it. I told her, don't ever leave him with him again after a beach incident where he, like, hit him. I mean, he's a kickboxer, like he said. He doesn't hit the dog like a normal person would just tap a dog. No, this was back in July. He was a puppy. He was a baby. And I was so furious when I saw that. He only did it because the dog snapped at him, because he was angrily packing him up into a dog carrier.
Would you do me a favor? Would you describe to me your daughter's condition?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Describe to me. You have to understand. Your daughter cannot get the dog. The dog does not belong to the defendant.
Okay.
The dog belongs to Mr. Wright.
What happens to the $1,310 she spent for the dog?
Well,
she sent that money to him.
I have to tell you something. I don't see anything in your daughter's evidence that suggests to me that any payments that she made to him had anything to do with the dog. Anything to do with the dog. Mr. Wright was very clear. He said he received $700 for the dog. There were 2 payments that were identified in his register as payments for Scrappy. There is absolutely nothing in your daughter's register that she gave me of these odd payments of $160 or $70 say Scrappy on it. Not one. So I've already made a determination of where the dog is staying. The dog is staying wherever Mr. Wright wants the dog to stay, because he owns the dog.
Okay.
Understand?
Yes.
So now that's your daughter's case. I finished that part of the case. What I want to know is he has a counterclaim, and his counterclaim was that your daughter, while in an intoxicated state, assaulted him. Some of that I saw on this video. Some of it you saw on the video. Mr. Caldwell was honest, because it doesn't look as if he was injured as a result of that, and I'm absolutely not discounting the fact that no one should put their hands on somebody else, but an assault requires an injury. And so if this is is that dog sleeping?
No,
that is so funny.
He grunts all the time.
That is so funny. So, Mr. Caldwell, can you show me what damage you allege Miss Jones caused your property? That's the next thing. You said an assault, which never happened because there was no physical injury. Would you mind telling me, please, what property specifically and photographs of that property?
I'll have it.
Okay, so your counterclaim's dismissed. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,600 for the vet bills that she paid or is obligated to pay on her credit.
It's not assault unless I get hurt.
Yes, it's not an assault unless there is an injury.
So if I was
that it's an
drunk, beating her up at her house?
That's an attempted, sir, it's an attempted assault. Do you understand? If an assault has a specific definition, I believe she probably attempted to assault you when she touched you in an unauthorized manner.
She was punching me in the face. That's not a...
Show me picture of any injury. Show me. No, I didn't see that in the video, sir. I saw her lunging towards you. Do you understand? I saw her lunging towards you.
Right.
I didn't see her hit you. I didn't see a photograph of any injury. I didn't see a police report where you reported any injury.
Report incidents where her being drunk and fighting other men.
Oh, okey-dokey. Did you understand what I said? An assault requires injury. An attempted assault does not. And attempted assault is a crime. But it's a crime which I choose, because of the circumstances here, not to consider and not to award you any cash award because you were not injured in any way. So unless you have photographs of the pair of shoes that you say she cut or something else, I'm dismissing your counterclaim. We got it? Good. Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,600. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
Scrappy was not just like a dog or a pet, like he was my support.
I mean, it was fair. Obviously, she had nothing to do with the dog.
It's expected because he lied the entire time that we were together.
And that's a lie.
Him not to have given him any of the money that I put towards Scrappy.
She literally just got all the transactions that we've ever done between each other on Venmo or Zelle and brought that to court.
Now I just think like he was pocketing that money the entire time.
And that's why it was dismissed, because it wasn't valid at all.
Sarah.
So I disagree with you a little bit on the countersuit of the assault charge. I have a more common law. So assault versus battery, as far as I learned, assault was just the imminent threat of a harm. You're fearing for your life or offensive contact of some sort, whereas battery is the actual offensive touching. There has to be some sort of contact. So if we're ruling by common law, which I know we're not bound by any particular state's jurisdiction, I would have awarded him something for the assault claim.
My training is in New York, and in New York there is no crime of battery. My training was it's assault, and for an assault there has to be a physical touching and injury, and an attempted assault is placing someone in fear of imminent physical injury. I think you're probably right that there are jurisdictions that are different. We didn't actually see any contact between her and him.
And he was honest.
We saw,
he said,
yeah.
you know, obviously I didn't have any injuries, but...
Right, just as he didn't have any evidence to support the fact that she had destroyed or damaged some of his personal property. Unfortunate, but you make a good point with regard to the assault.
Title, Judy Justice.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.com.
Okay, guys. So... আরে আমার আপুকে একটা নিয়ে রাখছি আমি আমাকে একটা তো নিতে দিবি না
এই নিয়ে যাবে না গুলি মেরে দেব নাকি চুপ করে থাকো
কাটা করছে কি
ready Eku.
Sigma boys.
Sigma boy আমি বার করে দিচ্ছি
আর পড়বো